let my rhymes speak. For me in history, a legend, you define me. Dumb Machiavelli, bitch, bow down to death row. Fuck what you say, we untouchable. Now that we done shook Doc Trent. He ain't made a beat in 6 years, sway the shit. Won't get no record sales, sucking Nas dick. Let me get my freak on. Nigga drop the beat, I get my freak on. The wrong one for you to speak on. Motherfucker, tell me game what niggas learn. In this game, fuck with us, niggas getting burned. We taking turns on you bitch made nigga roles. I hope it hurts cause you worse than this groupie hoes.
Oh, one more time, baby.
Tell me game what niggas learn. In this game, fuck with us, niggas getting burned. We taking turns on you bitch made nigga roles. I hope it hurts cause you worse than this groupie hoes. I heard Nas got beef cause I'm dissing his club. Cool. Come bring your ass, nigga, you can get dick. I'm worldwide, steady war rapping. Get your cash on, nigga, 5 times platinum. What's that? Daylight got a problem with this hard shit. Ever since me, myself, and I, y'all been garbage. I'ma keep it real, show you how it feels to ride. Y'all went 3 feet and stop rising. I ain't seen shit. Richie Williams is a fat bitch, that's the truth. I got a jar full of niggas nuts, that's for you. Let the west side, east side drama see. I come along to your own streets. Outlaw, prepare for panic when I unleash. Niggas is lucky if they leave here in one piece. That's right. Queen Puff never had no heart to start, so how the hell Biggie Smalls get the part? Tell me, Kane, what niggas learn? In this game, fuck with us, niggas getting burned. We taking turns on you bitch made nigga roles. I hope it hurts cause you worse than this groupie hoes.
Oh, one more time, baby.
Tell me, Kane, what niggas learn? In this game, fuck with us, niggas getting burned. We taking turns on you bitch made nigga roles. I hope it hurts cause you worse than this groupie hoes. What I bring to you is hardcore, the very essence of my poetry. Dyslexic, so you backward ass niggas that know me. The only T to bleed for the shit I bring and swing hard on motherfuckers, that's my thing. Vocally I'm pure, so you OD tryna throw me. Don't get your life took, tryna run with your homies. Y'all know me, same nigga so quick to blast on this worldwide mass, tryna get some cash. Holla, my name in the game will follow. Wait, and I'll murder these snakes tomorrow. Bunch of washed up, jealous ass punk gold. Quit bullshitting, pop, flip the bump mode. Machiavelli rise, all you niggas die when I come. I keep some fly shit and be done. They say Pac ain't got love for the east side. Use a line, motherfucker, nigga, we ride, watch your Tell me, Kane, what niggas learn? In this game, fuck with us, niggas getting burned. We taking turns on you bitch made nigga roles. I hope it hurts cause you worse than this groupie hoes.
Oh, one more time, baby.
Tell me, Kane, what niggas learn? In this game, fuck with us, niggas getting burned. We taking turns on you bitch made nigga roles. I hope it hurts cause you worse than this groupie hoes. My name in the game will follow. Wait, and I'll murder these snakes tomorrow. Bunch of washed up, jealous ass punk gold. Quit bullshitting, pop, flip the bump mode. Machiavelli rise, all you niggas die when I come. I keep some fly shit and be done. They say Pac ain't got love for the east side. Use a line, motherfucker, nigga, we ride, watch your mouth.
Fear is stronger than love. Remember that.
All this dope I stepped on, real get the rest gone. Been that nigga, what else you want? Power, powder, respect. I want that money and power and power. Money and powder and power. Money and powder and power.
That paper, yeah, I gotta stack that. Them diamonds keep blinking, we might have to jack that. Now boy, when that blicky come out, you get clapped fast. Throw down with a little joint. I'm at you like pat. Come back when them candles out around your block and kick that. Come back when your funeral in progress and hit that. Hit your back to back, your bitch ass won't even hit back. You'll be splashing in fashion. Nigga, you can check the drip, catch you slipping, we sliding. Your niggas on some different shit, we hit the licks, we with the shit. Shh, when you get hit, quiet down. No need for the talking, the fuck is that about?
Tougher than that Teflon. All this dope I stepped on. Real get the rest gone. Been that nigga, what else you want? Power, powder, respect. I want that money and power and power. Money and powder and power. Money and powder and power.
Older niggas look up to me, you can tell I got rank. Federal time just to survive. They'll pass you a shake. I ain't vote. Tell him free Larry and try to pardon his case. When you black and rich, they be slick and try to target your race. Street niggas never gon' win. I'm streets and I win. Riding strikers inside the trench. They be changing the VN. My brothers chasing a high. Got brothers life in a pen. Got lawyer fees for the fam. Just to start like damn 10. Sticks and stone. That won't break my bone where I'm from. You can tell you can never come back home where I'm from. When the city taught me a lot, I get it on where I'm from. Money, power, respect. I'm in the zone where I'm from.
All this dope I stepped on. Real get the rush gone. Been that nigga, what else you want? Power, powder, respect. I want that money and power and power. Money and powder and power. Money and powder and power.
He's Mr. Take the Heat, Mr. Baby, rub my feet, Mr. Don't be hanging late, Mr. Bring on the bacon, Mr. You ain't there enough, Mr. Pack your shit, Mr. Do it to me, bruh, Mr. Please, got me at my job, Mr. Please, I need $100 to buy, Mr. Please, can I use your car? If any man can do all of this, he got
That's
to
right,
be a
bad boy.
boy.
Fast women and fast cars. A razor blade instead of a tongue. My game sharp. We major leaguers, minor leaguers. Get out the park, bitches that wanna back talk. Get out and walk. I'm too cold like iceberg slim. That's it, I'm caked up with ice and rolling on dubs. Thug for life and never trifling. And I ain't never met a piece of pussy I ain't liking. I'm too piping, hot, front chick get got. Kid, don't get too close because you might get shot.
He's Mr. Take the Heat, Mr. Baby, rub my feet, Mr. Don't be hanging late, Mr. Bring on the bacon, Mr. You ain't there enough, Mr. Pack your shit, Mr. Do it to me, bruh, Mr. Please, got me at my job, Mr. Please, I need $100 to buy, Mr. Please, can I use your car? If any man can do all of this, he got to be a bad boy.
Okay, come out and play. Y'all clowns need to get down or get out the way. I'm a live round, shot to your head by Doc Dre. Ain't too long, y'all gon' live on consignment and not pay. This is a day, life of the kid. Fuck who it is, I'm gon' live like a true bad boy and do it big. And I can take it just as good as I can. And y'all ain't gotta ask, they're rapping your ass kids. Who anti-everything y'all niggas is for? Who eat up everything on his plate that eat yours? Ain't got no table manners at all. I'm up the wall like I'm MJ, jerking myself, scream at your fraud. And bitches wanna give us the draws, cause who we are. That same bitch of sugar you take and keep your car. The life of a player in pen. Who's every dollar tax exempt, pussy paying the rent. Now who I live?
Mr. Take the Heat, Mr. Baby, rub my feet, Mr. Don't be hanging late, Mr. Bring on the bacon, Mr. You ain't there enough, Mr. Pack your shit, Mr. Do it to me, bruh, Mr. Please, got me at my job, Mr. Please, I need $100 to buy, Mr. Please, can I use your car? If any man can do all of this, he got to be a bad boy. Oh, I'm a bad boy. Fast cars, hot women, the lifestyle of custom to win. Picture chrome spinning, tinted windows. But still, you can tell from the head bopping gangster lean. He's a bad boy. Champagne down the studded Vince. Red carpet rolled out, pulling up in the vent. In the crowd, they taking pictures. It's hard to tell if a flash went off. He was blinded by the riches. Oh, yeah. He was blinded by the riches.
Hell motherfucking yeah. This one goes out to my nigga Mike Cooley. Hell yeah. Boom, dugging, heartless and mean, mugging at 16 on the scene, watching beans, bugging, kicking up dust Are you ready? G-Unit. Are you ready? G-Unit.
Yeah, good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Yes, that's right. It is me, Uncle Lou, live on LouTube for you. Thanks for watching. Hendon Hooker's not good enough to be in New York for the Heisman. That's just what it is. There's however many hundreds or thousands or whatever it is, Heisman voters. They all agreed. So it just is what it is. Better luck next year to the Tennessee man. In a lot of different ways, right? Maybe next year you'll beat Georgia and South Carolina. Maybe you'll win the division. Maybe you'll win the SEC for the first time since last century. I doubt it, but Tennessee fans are used to the whole wait till next year routine, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal for you. You just go ahead and wait till next year on a Heisman invite that's not coming. So there you go. How's everybody doing? Happy Thursday. Welcome to Uncle Lou After Dark, the college football call-in show. Yes, the college football call-in show. YouTube's longest-running college football call-in show, too. Lots of other people doing it. Nobody doing it as long as Uncle Lou, though. That's right. That's right. No matter how mad it makes you, I just keep showing up. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. How's everybody doing? Shout out to my boy Stetson Bennett, who is in New York for the Heisman ceremony because he is good enough to be invited to the Heisman. Unlike, what's his name? Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker. How's everybody doing? For real, y'all doing okay? Weekend coming up. Uncle Lou was taking his weekend getaway. It's been a crazy recruitment period over the last week or so, coming to an end, though. This will not be the last official visit I take, though, just so everyone is aware. This will not be the last official visit I take. This just happens to be the first official visit I take. It was the most lucrative offer. What can I say? I'm no different than anybody else. You know? It was the most lucrative offer. So I got to go where I got to go. Hard to say no to oysters. Just going to be honest with you. Hard for Uncle Lou to say no to oysters. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Please hit the thumbs up at the start of the show. We're about to get to the phone calls, which is, of course, is the point of this show. If you'd like to be on the show today, just click the StreamYard link. It's in the description of the video. I will also post it in the comment section from time to time. For example, right now, I just posted it. StreamYard's very easy to use. You can do it from a computer, cell phone, pretty much whatever device you have that's connected to the internet. It's really, really easy. You can turn your camera off. You don't have to worry about being on camera. I'm not going to put you on screen anyway, and I could care less what you look like. So it's up to you, camera on or off. It doesn't matter. It's just like no different than a phone call. Almost anybody can do it. We usually have one or two people per show who try and can't do it, but generally speaking, most people can do it. There's even been a handful of South Carolina fans that have figured it out over the years, so it can't be that hard. Right, Jackpot? Anyway, I do appreciate all of y'all tuning in. Dylan, Jackpot, Kirby's Belt, Harry Legg, Joe D, Jerome Shit-Talking Pruitt, Mike, Michael, Battle Angel, Lizard Circus, Pastor Dave, Kirby's Belt, Jay Shipes, Corbin McClure, The Mad Tea Sipper, Kirby's Visor, Hog Man, JJ, Colby, Matt Dummett, Andy, Zach the Purdue Man, Bradley Sanford, Berto, Jonathan Aaron, Ace Productions, Newt the Groot, Natty Dogs, Gunnar, Snake Spence, Sports Talk 101, which is the most basic kind, by the way, Michael Sprague, Hypnotic, what spelled his name as weird as possible, Hypnotic Anonymous, Year of the Dogs, Ohio State Man, literally Ohio State Man. Says Ohio State by 40. There you go. Dante Spate, The Beast Bailey, Tim Skelton, Dylan Fine, Chiquita, Rack Dog. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Let's get started, shall we? Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hello, Uncle Lou.
Hello.
Okay, you can hear me. Cool.
Yeah,
okay.
I hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
This is great.
All
the
right.
First call of the day. Come on in, buddy. Come on in.
All right. So I don't know if you probably didn't know you knew this probably, but the awards, the college football awards, like the Davey O'Brien Award, the Doug Walker Award, they're on tonight. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah. Are you good? Okay.
Yeah. Do you have a thought on that, or just wanted to
do I have a
let
thought?
everybody
I
know?
just want to let you know. I think they got it. It's kind of weird that Max Duggan won the Davey O'Brien Award, and he wasn't even a first-team All-American, but that's something.
Well, I'm pretty sure different people vote on the All-American
Yeah.
Award than vote on the Davey O'Brien, so that would explain that.
That would explain that. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. I don't really know what else to talk about, so I'm just gonna go.
All right, thank you for coming on. That was amazing. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou, how's it going?
Going good. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. So we're gonna see your dogs and my maize and blue and the natty, maybe?
Well, if the favorites win, that's what will happen. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's what happens. I mean, I've been owning all the Ohio State, man, in my area I live in. Michigan,
Oh yeah, that's not hard to
obviously,
do, is it? Not for a
No,
Michigan,
it's
not for
not
a
hard.
Michigan man. It's not.
Yeah, especially for the past couple of years, they've just been all the jokes about Harbaugh can't beat Michigan, Michigan can't beat Ohio State.
Oh,
Now the tables have
out the
turned, and
window.
man, it's nice to see.
Yeah, you don't hear that anymore.
No. So I just got a question. So besides all of besides the semifinal games, what bowl game you most looking forward to see?
I think there's a handful of interesting ones now. Of course, this is all dependent on who decides to show up and actually play and who decides to quit and not play. But assuming everyone plays, which we know they're not, but so just looking at the games, Clemson, Tennessee, I think is an interesting game. Notre Dame and South Carolina, I think is interesting. Both teams started off the season bad. Both teams finished better than what it looked like they would after the first month of the season. I believe they both finished 8-4.
Yeah.
So 8-4 is probably not as good as Notre Dame hoped in the preseason. But after the way the first month of the season went for Notre Dame, they're probably happy to be 8-4. South Carolina, of course, won their last 2 games of the year against top 10 teams, Clemson and Tennessee. So that's an interesting game to me. Florida and Oregon State is interesting to me because I don't know how Florida's going to have enough people available to play the game. So I don't know if they're going to take the coward's way out and just quit before the game is ever played, or if they're actually going to show up and get absolutely drubbed like they did against Oklahoma a couple of years ago. I don't know. I do know there's no way Florida's winning that game against Oregon State. I think Tulane, Southern Cal is interesting. I talked about this the other day, but you never want to be the Power 5 team in a New Year's Six Bowl that has to play the Group of 5 team. It's got nothing to do with being afraid of the Group of 5 team, but it's just a no-win situation for the Power 5 team. If you beat a Power 5 team, no one cares. They just say, well, what do you expect? It was Tulane. And then, God forbid, you lose. You got to listen to 8 months of people telling you that you lost to a Group of 5 team. Georgia went through this in 2020. We beat Cincinnati, which anybody that pays attention knows Cincinnati was a good team in 2020. Tulane's a good team in 2022, but it doesn't matter. They're Group of 5 teams. Georgia wins on basically a walk-off field goal, and for 8 months, people told me that meant Georgia was no good. Never mind the fact they turned around the following season and beat everybody's ass and won the national title. So I think that's an interesting game. I feel bad for Southern Cal because they're in that no-win situation. And, of course, we all know Kansas State's going to beat the soul out of Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. So I think those are a few of the interesting ones. And the Rose Bowl has been good. The Rose Bowl seems like it's been good the last several years. So that'll probably be another good one again this year, too.
Yeah, I'm interested to see Tulane. Especially, it's really nice, Tulane's story. They were 2-10 last year.
Yeah, big turnaround.
They almost beat Oklahoma last year.
And I think, didn't they beat Kansas State early in the year? I'm pretty sure they did.
Yes.
Yeah, and now Kansas State is in a New Year's Six Bowl. So they've got a chance to beat not just 2 Power 5 teams this season, but 2 Power 5 teams that were good enough to make New Year's Six Bowls. Think about that, because Kansas State's in the Sugar Bowl, Southern Cal, of course, playing Tulane in the Cotton Bowl. So that would be 2 pretty big bragging points there for the Green Wave.
For the Green Wave. And Notre Dame also for me, since it's the area that I live in, unfortunately, is more Notre Dame, but because their quarterback Drew Pine transferring away, tight end Michael Mayer is skipping for the bowl game.
He's quitting.
Typical quitter. Yeah,
he's quitting.
exactly.
That's what he's doing. Yeah,
I
skipping.
saw
quitting.
your video on the quitting stuff. I totally agree with that. I hate that. It's glad I knew Michigan players were going to do that, especially since they're in the playoffs. But Notre Dame should be interesting. Really be funny to see Gumpman lose to Kansas State, though.
Yeah, it would be hilarious.
About how they should have won, or we wouldn't have had to play if we went to the playoffs.
But we were favored.
Yeah, doesn't matter if you're favored. Texas was 7-point favorites against TCU, and we saw what happened there. All right, well, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about.
All right, buddy, I appreciate you coming on, man. Good call. It was good to hear from you. Hope to hear from you again soon. Caleb Daniels has hit the super chat a couple of times. He says, even though Hendon Hooker didn't make the cut for the Heisman, I'm glad Jalen Hyatt took home the Biletnikoff Award. Very well deserved. Love the content. And he says, Stetson is mediocre at best. Most people will agree. No, not the Heisman voters, because he's in New York. And Hendon Hooker will be sitting at home on his couch watching it, won't he? Yeah, he will. It's a shame. It's sad, but true nonetheless. Don't worry. Stetson Bennett's not going to win the Heisman. And I'm going to ask a question, and the comment section only has 10 seconds to answer it because Google's not allowed. I guarantee you no one will be able to answer it. Not a single person. All these people getting all worked up about who's invited to the Heisman. I want someone to type in the comment section right now. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. All of the Heisman finalists from 2017. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In other words, no one will give a shit that Stetson Bennett was invited to New York next year, the year after, 2 years, 3 years. It won't matter. So these Tennessee fans that are all bent out of shape because such and such made it and Hendon Hooker didn't, just get over it. Get over it. Now, they're not going to get over it. They still cry themselves to sleep every night because Peyton Manning didn't win the damn thing 25 years ago or whatever it was. Maybe if Peyton Manning would have beat Florida just once. Maybe if Peyton Manning could have beat Florida just one time as quarterback of Tennessee, maybe that would have changed the Heisman voters' mind. But Peyton Manning didn't beat Florida. Not a single time. Also, didn't win the Heisman. What are you going to do? There's nothing you can do. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's up, Lou? It's Cadillac. How you doing, bud?
Doing good, bud.
Listen, a couple of things. Stetson Bennett to the Heisman. That's interesting. I think I called you one time last year and we discussed Stetson Bennett and how you were lobbying for JT Daniels, which I agree. JT Daniels is a lot better quarterback. But could you imagine me saying, chill, Lou, Stetson's going to New York next year? Could you believe that back then?
No, I didn't see it coming. But,
it's weird.
I don't think he's going to win it, but he's got more passing yards than two of the other three people there. Only one person there's got more passing yards than Stetson. He's got almost 3,500 yards.
He's not a bad quarterback, Lou, but the reason I called, though, another thing about the Heisman, I think if anybody on Georgia, it's Brock Bowers. I can't believe he hasn't even been, mentioned or, so effective, that kid. He's just great.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And another thing I got a bet with you, but I haven't been able to send it yet. It's going to be right after Christmas, so I don't want you to panic.
Oh, no, that's fine. Look, you've been around long enough, so it is what it is. What did we bet on again? I forgot.
Alabama carrying Kansas State alive. What?
Oh, that's right. That's right. We bet on the Alabama-Kansas State game. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The spread. We bet the spread. I wrote it down. I got it written down. Yeah, that's right. I got it written down. Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll settle up after the game.
Just don't forget about me.
No, I got it written down. I got it written down.
Right. And that's one. And there's one more thing, Lou, and it just hit me. I meant to talk to you about this to begin with. Hugh Freeze to Auburn might be pretty interesting, with Georgia and all. He's a good coach, Lou. What do you think?
He's all right. He's lost 4 or more games every single year he's been a head coach, except for 2.
Yeah, but
so okay, I'm confident. I'm confident one of the 4 games he loses every year will be to Georgia. In other words, is what I'm saying. The guy loses 4 games every year at a minimum, except for twice. Twice he's lost less than 4 games. So
So you're not at all concerned about his play calling, or well, I don't even know if he's going to handle that, but like his ability to work an offense the way he does, like with Liberty, for example. I mean, like look what he done with them.
They're 8-4. They're 8-4.
Well, yeah, but they play nothing but Power Fives. Well, it seems to me
that's what he's going to be playing at Auburn too.
Well, all right. Well, that's it, Lou. I just want to touch base with you about that bet and everything, and let you know Brock should be considered a lot more for Heisman than Stetson.
Yeah, well, you know how this works. He's a tight end. He's not going. It is funny to me. I mentioned this the other day. The Heisman's supposed to go to the best player in the country. There's not a human being on planet Earth that thinks Stetson Bennett is even the best player on his own team. And I'll take it a step further. Stetson Bennett isn't even the best white person on his own offense. But he's in New York for the Heisman, so it is what it is.
That's right. Well, roll Tide, Lou. Have a good one, buddy.
All right, well, Todd, appreciate you coming on, buddy. Good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. Here we go. Somebody don't know how to talk again.
So how do you feel about the hire of Matt Rule for Nebraska?
I think that's a good hire for Nebraska. I wasn't sure they would be able to get a coach of that caliber because they've been so bad for so long. So I think that's a good hire for Nebraska. Now, there ain't no overnight fixes at Nebraska. It's going to be a 2 or 3 year process at least to even get them back to 7 or 8 wins, but I do like the hire.
And I like his passion.
Yeah.
Scott Frost, I don't know. I don't really think Scott Frost had the passion that Matt Rule does.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with Scott Frost. I mean, the guy obviously knew what he was doing at Central Florida, but he got up to Nebraska and he just failed miserably. I don't know if that's more a sign of what Scott Frost really is or if that's more of a sign of what Nebraska just has become, which is a place that not many high school kids want to go anymore for whatever reason. When they left the Big 12 and joined the Big 10, they kind of lost their recruiting pipelines to Oklahoma and Texas. And I don't know. Now with NIL, maybe they can sort of scrape the pieces back together and try to get something going. But I'm not very optimistic no matter who they would have ended up hiring on Nebraska's chances to do anything in the next couple of years. I think those fans need to be patient. It's going to be a while, I think, before they even win the there won't be any divisions in the Big Ten in a couple of years, but
I actually think I'm out of the younger fans of Nebraska, the ones that become fans because of where they live. I became a fan because where I live.
Yeah, I think that's the case for most people. Yeah, that's the case for most people. Most college football fans are a fan of a team within their own state. Most.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll let you go.
Okay, I appreciate you coming on, man. It was good to hear from you. In addition to that as well. Good morning, but you're on with Uncle Lou, though.
What's up, Lou?
What's up, bud?
Nice shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
Speaking of Stetson Bennett, you want to know why he's in New York this weekend?
Why is that?
Because Stetson Bennett is this year has been the best quarterback in college football in big games.
Oh,
yeah.
Have they changed the Heisman? That's the criteria for the Heisman now.
I'm not saying Stetson Bennett's going to win the Heisman Trophy.
Oh no, he's invited though. But that's how you get invited to. That's what they're looking at now. The Heisman voters, how you play. How many big games did Georgia have this year?
3.
Which ones were they?
Oregon, Tennessee, and LSU.
Okay.
What did Stetson Bennett do in the first half of every one of them games?
Played really well.
You show me the best big game quarterback this season, I'll show you Stetson Bennett. Doesn't even have to paint his nails up. I mean, what kind of garbage is that? I wouldn't even want that kid on my team.
Really?
If somebody told me Caleb Williams was transferring to Georgia, I might not even watch Georgia football next year.
Damn. Well, he's going to win the Heisman.
Yeah, screw him. You want to know what he's not going to win?
What?
the national championship, and Stetson Bennett's about to win 2 in a row.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Give me walk on from South Georgia over some little entitled 5-star that paints his fingernails any day of the week.
Yep. I hear you, and that's a big part of the problem. Thank you for the call. It's a big part of the problem with some fans. That y'all think it's a joke when I say it. It's not. That's what they want. All they want to do is know where somebody's from. Oh, he's from South Georgia. Well, he needs to be starting. He needs to play. That's all there is to it. He's from South Georgia. He needs to play. Boy, this is going to be a short show today. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
How's it going?
It's going good.
Alabama deserves to be in the playoffs.
Yes. They would be favored over everyone except Georgia.
Georgia struggled to beat Mizzou and Kentucky.
Alabama struggled to beat LSU and Tennessee. They struggled so bad that they lost.
Georgia is going to get beat by Ohio State.
Bama already got beat twice.
Bama will win the national championship next year, and Georgia will be playing in the Alamo Bowl.
You said that all offseason, that they would do it this year.
You almost lost to an unranked Mizzou.
Would you rather almost lose or actually lose twice?
We lost twice on the last play of the game.
You also won 3 times on last play of game.
Georgia struggled to beat 3 unranked teams.
Struggled to beat, but 1 game. You struggled to lose.
We lost 2 times. One was a...
That's 2 more times than Georgia.
We beat Alabama in the national championship.
All right, I gotta go. Your sister's beeping in. Your sister's beeping in on my personal line. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Man, that was the most pathetic attempt at a troll I've ever heard in my life.
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah, he's going to go to school tomorrow and show all his friends at recess what he did on the Uncle Lou show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he
He's
can't wait.
He's famous now.
Right over there at the monkey bars.
Yep. Yeah, and I remember you saying you was really looking forward to the Orange Bowl there. That's probably my favorite or my most favorite bowl, or the one I'm looking forward to other than the playoffs and my team's bowl, of course.
Yeah.
And then you got Kansas State and Bama. I'll be pulling for Kansas State in there, even though I'm an SEC homer. But I will be going for Georgia. But I'd just like to see Kansas State win that, just because it'd be really cool for them.
Yeah, plus it'd be hilarious because we can laugh at Bama Man again. What if
that goes without saying.
What if Bama loses by 1 possession on the last play of the game like they did against LSU and Tennessee? Then they can brag about that. They can brag about having 3 close losses instead of bragging about having 2 close losses. Wouldn't that be something?
You know they will.
Oh, yeah, they will.
You know they
yeah,
will.
they will. They can't wait for that. That'd be great.
Oh, man, they crack me up. Bama fans almost as bad as Tennessee fans, I tell you.
Yeah.
Oh. My team's Ole Miss. They're going to be playing in the Texas Bowl. You got between them.
You were cutting out. I heard you say something about Ole Miss.
Sorry about that. Ole Miss is playing Texas Tech in the Texas Bowl.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good game. That'll be a good game.
Beat Texas Tech.
I don't know. I got to look and see how many quitters there are on each team, but I think that'll be a good game. I'm not making any bowl predictions until a day or two before the game is played when I know how many quitters each team has.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I want to try to make it to a bowl game today. I was hoping Ole Miss might somehow pull the Sugar Bowl because I live an hour outside of New Orleans. So.
Have you ever been to the Sugar Bowl before?
Yeah, I went last year when Ole Miss played Baylor.
Yeah, I've never been to any bowl game at all, but it would. I guess it must be pretty cool to go to one of the big ones like that.
Yeah, that was actually my first college football game ever. So
wow,
it was a bummer seeing Matt Corral get injured the first half, but I mean it happens.
Right.
But I'm gonna go over to Mobile because my other team, Southern Miss, they'll be playing Rice. So hey, I'm gonna try to make one this year anyway.
Oh, Southern Miss, yeah. Well, don't lose to food.
Yeah, I hope not. We eat rice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But anyway,
what are you, Chinese?
It was good talking to you, Lou.
All right, yeah, you too. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
appreciate you coming on. Eat rice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey Lou, how are you doing?
Doing good.
Hey, I guess I'm the resident Kansas State fan on this channel, so
Oh,
I'd like to say Emaw out there for the Cat Nation.
Emaw.
Yeah, it means every man a wildcat.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like the Kansas word for grandma or something.
That's one of our, I guess, sayings or whatever. Every school's got one of these mottos or whatever.
Yeah,
but
Emaw,
I hope we beat Bama. I know it'd make Georgia fans happy as well.
Everybody likes to watch Bama lose.
It's a good matchup, I think. You got Kansas State coming off of a Big 12 championship victory where they played a really good TCU team to the very end. In fact, it was a fourth down goal line stand. It's a dramatic win. And then you got Bama, still a very good team, of course. But, who knows what they're going to have in terms of opt-outs and whether they even want to play the game.
Yeah.
So I guess I'd like to get your opinion while I'm here. I don't know. I'm guessing as an SEC guy, you watch a lot more of that conference. But I don't know. Have you seen much of the Big 12 this year, and what are your opinions?
Oh, yeah, the Big 12 was great this year. The Big 12 and the Pac-12 were the two funnest conferences to watch this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Big 12 had a good year. Well, think about if Texas and Oklahoma just would have been just what they are on average. How much the Big 12 might have been the best conference in football this year. It's weird to say, but Texas and Oklahoma actually drug the Big 12 down this year, and that's unusual.
Yeah.
Usually, it's Oklahoma in particular, propping the Big 12 up. But I mean, you had some legitimately good teams and some good stories in the Big 12 this year. That aren't named Texas or Oklahoma.
That's right. What struck me about Texas and Oklahoma this year was, I think people were expecting Oklahoma would take a bit of a step back, but
not this much.
I don't think anyone expected the season to turn out for them 6-6.
Yeah, no, that's unacceptable.
Saw that.
Yeah, no, that's unacceptable. Brent Venables is going to have to do a lot better next year, or else people are going to start asking some tough questions.
And typically, Texas is the team that starts out hot, and then they end their season at 6-6. So you're right. But I would take it a step further. I think this conference has shown that it has depth. Of course, it doesn't have a Georgia or an Alabama or a team at the very top who can compete for a national title. But in terms of the overall depth of that conference, I think it's probably the deepest in Power 5. So I don't know if you'd agree with that.
The Big 12 being the deepest conference in the Power 5?
Yes.
SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, all pretty deep this year. Pac-12. How many Pac-12 teams finished ranked? 5?
Yeah, it's got to be something like that.
It might be the most. Let's see. The SEC's got Georgia, Tennessee, Bama, and Mississippi State. Is that it?
What? So
or South Carolina's in there too, I think. South Carolina. So the SEC's got, I think, 5 in the top 25. Is it 5? I think the SEC's got 5. I'd have to look. SEC's got 5. Pac-12's got what? Southern Cal, Utah, Oregon State.
I think they got 6.
Maybe UCLA is in there too. Maybe Washington. Yeah. Oh, Washington's in there for sure. Yeah, SEC, Big 12, and Pac-12, I think, were the deepest conferences this year. ACC was pulling up the rear. They were horrible.
Oh, God, they're a joke, and the Coastal should be abolished.
Yeah, it was bad.
But I guess my argument is the following, which is, the Big 12 currently is a pretty small conference. Everybody plays each other. Whereas, the Pac-12 and the SEC are larger. You got more members. And if you look at the Pac-12, you did have 6 really good teams at the top, but my God, you had some just atrocious teams in the bottom there with Colorado, Arizona State, Stanford was god awful. And I'll even make the argument with the SEC is that you do have some teams in the middle and towards the bottom that I'm not blown away by. I don't think anyone's blown away by a Missouri or a Kentucky necessarily.
Yeah.
Whereas the middle of the Big 12, I think has some strong teams.
Like who?
You're talking like Baylor, like Oklahoma State. Even Iowa State this year, they went 4-8, but they still beat Iowa.
Yeah.
So I think the non-conference record of the Big 12 schools also helps that argument. But I don't know. I'm just not terribly impressed with sort of the middle tier of the SEC.
So Baylor finished 6th in the Big 12. So the 6th best SEC team is Ole Miss. I have a feeling they would beat the soul out of Baylor, but I could be wrong.
Well, so SEC, they've got 14 now?
Yeah.
Okay, so it'd be the exact middle would be 7 or 8.
Well,
right?
The 6th best team. Baylor's the 6th. Baylor finished 6th in the Big 12.
Right.
So you would face them off against the 6th place team in the SEC, which would be probably Ole Miss.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is I think you have to account for the size of the conference because 6th in the Big 12 is actually like just below average, whereas 6th in the SEC is actually a couple rungs above average.
Okay.
Considering the size. But I mean, that's a little nitpicky.
Well, to be 6th in the SEC, you have to be better than 8 other teams. To be 6th in the Big 12, you only have to be better than 4 other teams, which is easier.
I also think it depends on the schedule.
It's easier to be better than 4 teams than it is to be better than 8. Wouldn't you agree?
I'm sorry, say that one more
Is it
time.
easier to be better than 4 other teams, or is it easier to be better than 8 other teams?
Typically I would say it's easier to be better than 4.
Right. And
however,
in the Big 12, to be 6th, you have to be better than 4 teams. So.
Yeah, I see that argument, but I would say as well, I think it depends on the quality of the opponent.
Well, listen, there's not a person alive, including you, who thinks the Big 12 is better than the SEC. So I'm happy to sit here and go round and round about it with you until the cows come home. But you're fighting a losing argument here.
Well, I guess it depends on what your definition of better is, because I certainly don't think.
Well, here's my definition of better. Georgia would beat TCU by 4 touchdowns. Yes.
Yeah.
Sir? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Tennessee would beat Kansas State by 4 touchdowns. Who's third?
I really
Alabama.
Don't think
Who's third? Okay. Who's third? Let me see who's third. Texas. Alabama already beat Texas. So far, the SEC is 3-0 against the Big 12. Texas Tech is your 4th.
Right.
Texas Tech is the 4th team in the Big 12. They're about to play the 7th or 8th best team in the SEC, Ole Miss. Who do you think's going to win? Ole Miss.
I'm sorry, Ole Miss versus who?
Texas Tech, the 4th best team in the Big 12, is about to play the 8th best team in the SEC in a bowl game.
Ole
Miss is going to beat them. That's 4-0. The next best team is
Absolutely.
Oklahoma State. After so let's see, who's the 5th? Whoever the 5th best team in the SEC is, who would be the 5th best team in the SEC? South Carolina. They'd beat Oklahoma State like they owed them money. On and on down the list here.
So I mean, we could. I see your arguments that you're making, but I mean, we could go back to like last year's bowl games.
But we're talking about right now. We're not talking about last year. We're talking about right now.
Okay,
I'm not arguing. Are we arguing about who was better last year or this year? Because for 10 minutes, we've been talking about who's better this year. Now you're trying to revert to something that happened last year to prove your argument about this year. That's not how it works, Hoss.
Well, I guess what I was trying to do was use the data that we have I can't.
You've got 13 games of data for this year. That's what you can use. You can't go back and use data from last year to prove a point for this year. No one on earth thinks the Big 12 is better than the SEC. Nobody.
You'd have to ask. I'm in Big 12 country, so I talk.
Big 12 people don't believe it. No one
they
believes
do.
it. No, they don't.
No, we do.
No, they don't.
No, we actually do.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Bet me on the Ole Miss Texas Tech game then.
I don't do bets with anyone. I just don't do them.
Ole Miss is like the 8th best team in the SEC. Texas is the 4th best team in the Big 12. Surely the 4th best team in a conference that you say is better than the SEC can beat the SEC's 8th best team.
I just don't do bets though. Like I have a policy of just not.
Well, based on our conversation over the last 15 minutes, that sounds like that's probably a smart move on your part.
No, I really don't bet with anybody. But I'd be interested to see with those games what happens.
Well, Lustradamus just told you what's going to happen.
Well, I hope the Cats at least win. I'm excited for that game.
Yeah, Alabama's like the 4th best team in the SEC. Kansas State's the 2nd best team in the Big 12. Kansas State should beat them no problem, according to you.
Well, Alabama, so here's the end of my argument, though, is the SEC hands down has the premier programs at the top. That's undisputed. I guess my argument is, sort of the middle teams. I'm just not terribly impressed with some of the middle teams in the SEC.
As opposed to Baylor and Kansas, who are the middle teams in the Big 12. I mean, what are we talking
Kansas
about
is
here?
like, I think,
who can Kansas
7th or
beat in
8th.
the SEC? Give me a list of teams that Kansas can beat in the SEC. Go.
Okay, Vanderbilt, Missouri.
That's 2.
Probably Florida.
What?
I think they beat Sunbelt.
Five-star dummy.
Don't give me that, Lou. Come on, you know that Sunbelt Dilly would lose.
So the 7th best team in the Big 12 can only beat 3 SEC teams out of 14.
No, I'd probably throw in another one, but
Well, who would it be? Arkansas?
Probably like Mississippi State or one of those other
What
ones.
about Texas A&M? Surely somebody can beat them.
A&M, yeah.
Okay, that's 4.
So Kansas isn't that bad. They're a lot better than they were last year. I'll give them that for sure.
Okay.
And their coach is good.
So a middle-of-the-road Big 12 team who's the 7th best team in the Big 12 can beat the 13, 14, 15, and 16 teams from the SEC.
Well, they're not exactly the middle of the pack. They're, I think, in like 8th or something.
Who, Kansas?
I think they're in like 7th or 8th.
They're 7th. That's the middle. There's 10 teams. 6 and 7 are the middle.
Okay, well, so who's the 5th?
Baylor. Same record as Kansas.
Baylor also, well, okay, you're going to say that was last year.
Baylor is 6 and 6. Last year, Baylor was an 11-win team. Don't tell me what they did last year to prove a point for this year. Baylor is part of why you're losing this argument right now. Because they're not any good. And they're way better than Oklahoma. So, no, the Big 12, no. This is insanity.
I would be curious to know if we're using this year. I know, for example, K-State played Missouri. That's only one data point. I don't know what the other SEC Big 12 games were.
Well, you're about to see Bama play Kansas State.
I'm saying like all those matchups this season, I don't remember them all, and I only watched one of them. I'd have to like look it up right now, and I'm not really prepared to do that. But I'd be curious to know the record between the two conferences this season. Is that my cue to say something? All right. Well, I can't fill the dead air, unfortunately.
Okay,
But,
no problem. Just let me get you to pull up into spot number 2, and I'll be right out with your fries.
5-star dummy.
Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great.
So, I want to address one thing. Last time I came on this show, I said something that was considered a hot take at the time. I said I could see an SEC championship without either Bama or Georgia.
Right. It was
and you hung up on me.
It was a hot take.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think that
It didn't
Bama
happen.
had what it took.
Didn't happen. Georgia was there.
Huh? No. Either or. Like, one of those teams would not be in the SEC championship.
Oh, well, that's not a hot take.
Yeah, no, and I figured it would be Bama. I think that Georgia, pound for pound, is probably the most, like, the biggest sized team in the country, and, like, they're just the most talented, in my opinion. I think they're going to win back-to-back.
Right.
And as a Georgia Tech fan, I guess it pains me to say that, but it's just the facts. I think UGA is probably the most talented team, and it looks like they're starting to build a dynasty. I mean, and
That's
heard
scary,
this
ain't
thing. Yeah, I heard this thing earlier today that sounded really. It was about Georgia, and it was really thought-provoking. Like, Georgia dominates good teams and plays down to bad teams. I don't know why that.
Well,
is,
this
but
year that's been the case a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yes. Last year that was not the case. Last year Georgia beat everybody they played by 60 or whatever it was. I mean, it didn't matter. Everyone. This year, yes, Georgia has taken several naps this year.
So that being said, do you think Stetson deserves the Heisman Trophy?
No.
No?
No.
I like Max Duggan to win it, or Duggan, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I like him to win it. I want him to win it. I think he's probably the best candidate because TCU was not even ranked at the start of the season, and now they're in the college football playoff. I mean,
Right. What was Southern Cal ranked? I don't remember. It wasn't very high, but I think Caleb Williams
It was
will win
probably top 10 if I had to guess.
Yeah, I think Caleb Williams wins it.
I would say stats-wise, I think Caleb Williams is probably the winner. But if you talk about story, it's probably Duggan.
Well, if you talk about story, it's Stetson Bennett.
Well, what do you mean by that? Because he's already won the national championship. I mean, I'm talking about like a comeback story, something nobody ever thought would happen, really.
Like
what
maybe
do you mean
someone
by
being
story?
a walk-on in 2017
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
riding
true,
the
that's
bench
true.
for 4 years and
That's
losing
true,
his starting job multiple times, only to come back and win 2 national titles. Yeah, that would be a crazy story. But Rudy didn't win the Heisman, and neither is Stetson.
Yeah, Rudy got in for like 2 plays his whole career.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of them he was offsides.
Yeah.
So he's got a 50% penalty rate. The guy just wasn't any good. He's got a higher penalty rate than Will Anderson, and that's saying something.
Yeah, what's up with Will Anderson? Wasn't he supposed to be like the greatest thing ever?
Yeah, he's supposed to be like the most dominant defensive player on the planet. Meanwhile, you watch an Alabama game, you need one of those programs they hand out at the gate to find him on the field. I mean, the guy's invisible. It's weird.
I do think it's funny that Alabama lost 2 games this season, and people are saying that their dynasty is over. Like, that's how good Saban is.
Well, their dynasty is
games.
over.
Well,
they're not currently in a dynasty right now. Their dynasty ended a few years ago. You have to win 3 national titles in 5 years to be a dynasty. They've only won, 2 in the last 6 years?
A couple of them were against Clemson. I mean,
they won in 17 and 20. That's the 2 they've won in the last 6 years.
I don't even
2
really
in 6
count
years
COVID.
ain't a dynasty. If it is, Clemson had one too because they won 2 in 6 years.
I barely count COVID.
Yeah, COVID's like half counting. Yeah, you're right. So really, they've only won 1.5 titles in the last 6 years.
Yeah, that was
way
probably
back
the most
in 2017.
boring national title I've ever watched was COVID year. I didn't even watch. I just turned it off. I was like, this is going to be a blowout.
Yeah, well, not a lot of people watched anything at all that year. Those were some of the lowest ratings college football's had since color TV was invented.
Yeah. So I found it interesting that guy before me was trying to argue that the Big 12 was better than the SEC. What was that guy on?
Yeah, I don't know. And what makes me mad is I go out of my way to give other conferences credit. Like you heard me tell the guy the Big 12 and the ACC the Big 12 and the Pac-12 were great. I even went through and talked about it. And then the guy has to come out with, the Big 12 is better than the SEC. Come on, man. Come
ACC and good should not even be muttered in the same sentence.
No, the ACC is terrible, but I mean, the
They
Big
had a
12
lot of
was
bowl
good. It was good football this year, and that's what I told him. If Oklahoma would have been their normal self this year, then maybe you start saying, okay, maybe the Big 12 is the best conference this year. But Oklahoma being 6-6 just takes that off the table. I mean, TCU is 13-0; they're good. Texas is your next best team at 8-4. Or Kansas State at now 9 what is Kansas State now 9-4? I mean, come on.
9-4, 9-3, something.
Yeah, that's come on.
Yeah,
the Big 12 is good. Let's just leave it at that.
But yeah, I mean, the SEC at one point, I think they had like 6 teams ranked and like 4 in the top 10 or something ridiculous. The SEC it's not even an argument. The SEC is the best conference in college football. There's not even an argument.
Right.
And I would say the Big 12 isn't even the second best. It's the Big 10. Man, well, maybe.
The Big 10's kind of down this year. I mean, I do think that Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State are all legitimate top 10 teams.
I haven't even watched.
But after that, it's hard to find a team after that that's even top 35.
Illinois came out of
Illinois, yeah, but man, they played. It's hard to know. I want to see Illinois. I can't remember who they're playing in a bowl game, but the West was so bad this year. It's hard for me to tell which of those teams from the Big Ten West is any good at all because they all ended up with 3 or 4 losses, and they played a bunch of terrible Big West teams. So I don't know about that. I mean, Minnesota. Who was it that ended up winning the Big Ten West? Purdue. I mean.
Purdue,
yeah.
And they actually made it somewhat interesting for Michigan.
In the first half, they did, yeah. First half, they did.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I heard something about the Coastal should be abolished. Technically, yes, it is being abolished. They're getting rid of divisions in the ACC next year.
Yeah.
Which means that it'll be Clemson and FSU in the ACC championship for the next few years, probably.
Yeah, that's kind of the way it looks right now.
They're getting rid of divisions, which means... Yeah, previous Coastal teams won't even touch the top 5, probably. I mean,
I wonder
because UNC,
Florida State's going to get some. We're jumping way ahead here, but when the off season rolls around and people start doing stuff for next season, and like media days comes around in July, Florida State's going to get some votes. Going to get some first place votes in the ACC over Clemson this offseason.
I would say that's probably right. Yeah,
they're one of the hottest teams in the country the last half of the season. I mean, they lost 3 games, but they lost, I think it was 3 in a row they lost in the middle of the season. They haven't lost since then. Jordan Travis announced he's coming back. Florida State might get some first. Clemson will probably still be the favorite just because it's, people, you really don't even have to think about it. It's just like, well, Clemson's first. Let me try to figure out who's second. But I wouldn't be surprised if Florida State got some first place votes for the ACC next year.
And I said it. And even though they lost to Clemson, I still think they're the best team in the ACC just given the fact that they've beaten really good teams, and yeah, they lost to Clemson, but I mean, I don't know. I think they're right there with Clemson, and maybe they just had a bad game.
Yeah.
Because they've had a lot of quality wins.
Yeah. No, they looked good this year. They surprised a lot. It
And
surprised me.
Yeah, but I mean, I did not have fun watching the ACC this year.
Yeah, it was pretty
just,
bad.
You know.
Somebody
as a
wants to
Georgia
know
Tech
how
fan-
Ohio State has the most fans. Well, they have 80,000 students. They're the largest public university in the world. So, literally anybody, if you have a heartbeat, that you can go to school there. I mean, they let everybody in. There's like 80,000 students. So that's how they end up having the most fans across the country, because they're just everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, another thing. I feel like I've talked to you about this in the past, and I know you're a Georgia fan, so I don't know if you want to divert into this, but Georgia Tech did end up hiring their interim coach.
Yeah, they did.
And it's because
Well, they had
they're
to.
in-
Nobody else wanted a job.
Chadwell interviewed for the job, and
12
he said,
people interviewed for the job.
Huh?
12 people interviewed for the job.
Oh, I didn't know it was 12.
Yeah.
But anyways, Chadwell, who you said was probably the best candidate, interviewed for the job, and rumor has it that he said, I want to bring my offensive staff.
And they told him, no, we
And
can't afford it.
Jay Bat said, no.
Right,
So he
which is
said,
ridiculous.
All right, then.
Why do you want to? The only reason to hire Jamie Chadwell is for his offense. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want him to bring his offensive staff?
Exactly.
Georgia Tech can't get out of their own way. They can't get out of their own way.
And I will say this, emotions played a huge role in this hire. Brent Key's a Georgia Tech grad. He's on video doing all this like hype stuff with the team, and emotions played. The players wanted him to be the next head coach, but if you're athletic director Jay Bat, you come from Alabama, business is business. You should make the hire that needs to be made, and put emotions aside. I mean,
Well, they made the only hire they could afford to make. Most of the coaches that turned Georgia Tech down, it was because of money. They wanted guaranteed contracts. Georgia Tech didn't have the money to guarantee the contracts, and so the coaches
Chadwell
said thanks,
went
but
to
no
Liberty,
thanks.
and he's now making about $5 million a year.
Yeah, that's the thing. Chadwell said, I'd rather coach at another group of 5 school than I would go to Georgia Tech.
That's pretty sad. That's pretty sad that you've got a coaching candidate that went to a group of 5 school over your school because
Right.
you don't have enough money and enough resources.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that Brent Key could probably take us to like middle of the road in the ACC, 6, 7, maybe 8 wins maximum. But I don't think that a coach like Brent Key, who's never been a head coach before, is going to get by on sheer love for the players and love for the program. I mean, Jeff Collins loved Georgia Tech, and look where that got us.
Yeah.
Jeff Collins is a bum.
Oh,
And
he's probably the worst Georgia Tech coach in my lifetime, and that's saying
he is
something.
he
He
is
might be the worst
staff-
Georgia Tech coach ever. I think he is the worst Tech coach ever if you just look at just winning percentage.
Winning percentage, he's the worst Georgia Tech head coach, and maybe the worst ACC head coach.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're wanting to hire, and people now fans are calling for him to be the next defensive coordinator of Florida on Twitter. Like, how could you look at that bum ass coach and say, "I want to hire him"?
Yeah, well,
Like,
I don't know much about him as a coordinator, but I do. I
did
don't
have a
think
top
that just because someone's a bad head coach doesn't automatically make him a bad coordinator. I mean, Jeremy Pruitt, Will Muschamp, Dan Mullen. I mean, the list goes on and on. There are elite coordinators who aren't cut out to be head coaches. I'm not saying that's what Jeff Collins is, but
I mean,
just
he had
because
a
he
top
failed as a
SEC
head coach doesn't mean he wouldn't be a good coordinator.
Yeah, and Brent Key touched on this. It was pretty funny in his introductory press conference. He basically took a stab at Collins. He said, "We will do nothing to embarrass the University of Georgia. Like, we'll do nothing to embarrass this university." And he was basically taking a stab because the whole Collins tenure was all about embarrassing Georgia Tech because we could say all this stuff and then we just didn't win games. And so you could do all that stuff, but if you don't win games, nobody takes you seriously.
Right. No, you're right. Hey, thank you for the call. It's good to hear from you. I'm gonna have to move on. We're getting filled up in the back room here. Sean D, thank you for hitting the PayPal link tonight to help support the show, sir. I really appreciate that. He says, great show as always. Here's $19 for the second best tight end in the country. He's talking, I guess, about Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. Or no, he's talking about Brock Bowers, I guess, since the Mackey Award apparently doesn't look at stats. Yeah, Brock Bowers won the Mackey Award for best tight end. Michael Mayer's really good. He's no Brock Bowers. So, he's no Brock Bowers. But he's really good. Yeah. Shout out to Brock Bowers, Mackey Award winner. Mackey Award winner in that. Sean D, thank you again for hitting the PayPal link. I really appreciate that. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in. We're going to get right back to the phone calls, but there's 450 people in here and only 147 thumbs up. Please hit the thumbs up. It's a big help to the show. YouTube loves it when you hit the thumbs up. Doesn't take any time, effort, or energy. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up. We're going to get in. We'll get right back to the phone calls. If you would like to help support the channel, Super Chat, Cash App, and PayPal are the best ways to do that. You can attach a note, question, comment, troll attempt, whatever you want, to that Cash App, Super Chat, or PayPal. I'll be happy to read it and respond, although keep in mind I will respond accordingly. All those links are in the description of the video. I'll post them in the comment section here real quick for those of you that might not have them. Yeah, there you go, and also. Let's see, where are we at on the Super Chats here? Am I caught up? No, I'm not. Let's see. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up. Wasn't the case with Georgia Tech, says Trace Luther. SEC ain't no good, woo. Yeah, that's what the man tried to tell me there. Wide, thank you for the Super Chat. He says Northwestern has more first-round picks than the entire Big 12 in the past 2 drafts. That is sad. That is very sad if that's true. Nick Harrington, thank you for the Super Chat. He says, woo, we need to talk about Michigan and what they are saying. What are they saying? What are they saying? Miles Brown, thank you for the Super Chat. Lou, what was more pathetic, the Herschel or Warnock campaign or Saban playoff campaign? The playoff campaign was more pathetic because Herschel and Warnock both each had a chance to actually succeed, whereas Saban did not. He says Stetson should paint his fingernails for the playoffs that say, call me. Well, that would work if we were playing Tennessee in the playoffs, I think. Woo, where the number to call in? It's in the description of the video, sir. 500 IQ, thank you for the Super Chat. Staquavius will win the national title with 7 yards passing like his father, Buckquavius. Buckquavius Ballou. I remember Buckquavius Ballou. Didn't he complete 1 pass in the national title game in 1980, something like that? Nick Koenig, thank you for the Super Chat. He says, Gump Man trying to think if number 5 is in the top 4. Yeah, he's wrestling with that one, isn't he? He's really wrestling with that one. Agent Z, thank you for the Super Chat. Woo, I heard Dion brought his own luggage, and it's Louis. Yeah, that's what he said. Apparently, I'm in the minority when it comes to my opinion on Deion Sanders and how he's going to work out at Colorado, which is fine. I've been wrong before. I've been right before. What are you going to do? You have to have an opinion one way or the other on these things. These things that everybody wants to talk about. You can't straddle the fence. So we'll see. I'm not convinced it's going to work at Colorado. And I like Deion, so it's nothing against him personally. I like Deion, but I'm not convinced what he's doing at Colorado is going to work. Red and Black Dog, thank you for the Super Chat. Getting filled up in the back room. That the new Auburn recruiting strategy. Yeah. Well, Auburn will try anything. They'll try anything. Hell, they're so desperate they hired Hugh Freeze. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Oh yeah, what's up? This is my second time calling. I was the last time I'm the person that's in like Gamecock conversion therapy right now.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to talk to you a couple things. First thing I wanted to mention this is that I actually seen like Jalen Hyatt play in real life because growing up, he went to my rival high school, so he used to like run circles around our defense and shit. And it's nice seeing him be successful. I'm just worried because I remember you talking about how he has like 11 routes or something. I feel like the NFL will nab him for like not having route running skills because he just runs up the field every play.
Yeah, I think that's a legitimate question about not just Jalen Hyatt, but some, the Tennessee's wide receivers in general. They don't run a complicated passing scheme, and that's not an insult to Tennessee. Like I say, how they have 5 plays and it's a gimmick and all that. That's not what I'm saying here. But they pretty much run slant routes, go routes, and curls. It's not what makes Tennessee's offense hard to defend is the speed at which they run it. Yeah. Not that they're running some type of super complicated offense with a bunch of sophisticated route trees and stuff. They're not. So we'll see how he does at the combine and how. Now I think he's going to be a good receiver in the NFL. I don't think he's going to fail in the NFL, but I think that's a legitimate question to have about some of Tennessee's wide receivers.
Yeah, the next thing I wanted to say was as far I know you agree. I know the last guy tried to make it with the Big 12 was just against the SEC. Like, I don't agree with that, but I do think they're disrespected. I don't know if you feel the same thing, but like I'm from the South, and like I feel like when we talk about football, like we kind of see the Big 12 and the Pac-12 as like basically the same as Group of 5.
Yeah, well, and to be fair, the Pac-12 especially has been really, really bad a lot of years over the last decade or so. But like I said, every week this season during the season, people need to start tuning back into the Pac-12. The Pac-12 had great football this year, great football. Yeah. And it was fun to watch. It was great games, exciting games, interesting games, good players, good teams, good coaches. The Pac-12 was good football this year. There's nothing wrong with saying that. There were other years where it wasn't. But the Pac-12 was good football this year. And the Big 12 too.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to also add was I feel like there's been like a couple of teams that have been really dominant in college, like the last 10 years, like the playoffs. I mean, you think like Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, and then I guess Oklahoma was there. But I feel like, would you say Michigan is kind of taking that 5th spot, like where they're kind of like more dominant? They're like one of the most dominant programs right now.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at it a couple of different ways. Clemson made the playoffs a bunch of years in a row. Now they're not making it, and Georgia is. Oklahoma made the playoffs a bunch of years in a row. Now they're not making it, and Michigan is. Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma right now is nowhere near a playoff caliber team. Oklahoma's not making the playoffs again until they expand to 12. That I can tell you that right now, because they're not making the playoffs this coming season or the season after that. It's not happening. So yeah, Oklahoma's days of making the 14 playoff are over.
Okay, yeah, that's true. And I'll let you go after this, but I just wanted to say I kind of like the community you've built, because I feel like as a younger person, like when I look at online, it's kind of like a bunch of young people and like kind of the same type of people. But I think that the football community with like college football and stuff, y'all get from people that don't really get represented online. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like some of the older folks and like people from the South and all that. So I appreciate that, but I'll let you go.
Yeah, man, I appreciate the kind words. Everyone is welcome on the Uncle Lou channel. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Who do you think would be in the national championship game?
I'm not. I'll make my picks the week of the game, but if I had to pick right now, I would pick Georgia and Michigan. But that's not. I don't have to pick right now. I'm just answering your question right now.
Yeah. How many SEC teams made a bowl game?
You know what? I don't know the number off the top of my head. It'd be easier to count the ones that didn't. Auburn didn't. Texas A&M didn't. Vandy didn't. That's 3. Did Arkansas? Yeah, I guess Arkansas did. I don't know, 12 or 13, something like that.
I looked at who Illinois plays in the bowl game, and they play Mississippi State.
Oh, okay.
I don't understand why that guy, a couple calls before me, said the Big 12 was better than the SEC shot.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe his mom dropped him on his head when he was a baby. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I done a bowl mania thing. Just.
Oh, where you go and pick all the games?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun to do.
Yeah. I don't know about I picked Kentucky to beat Iowa, but I doubt it now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Levis
know.
is out.
Levis is out. I
and
don't know who's quitting for
Rodriguez.
Iowa. So. Yeah.
So
Score that game
and-
probably be like 6-4.
Or like that Iowa and whatever team they played the first week, that was like 7-3.
Yeah, it looked like a baseball score.
I saw that short that you posted after the Iowa game.
Yeah, I remember that. It was alarming.
It was.
Yeah, it was pretty alarming. Hey, buddy, thank you for the call. It was good to hear from you. I've got to move things along here. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, good morning, Uncle. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, bud.
Good. I'll be quick because I know you got more callers. The first thing I want to say was I really thought what you said about Hugh Freeze was interesting. That's something I've never really thought about really what his winning percentage is.
Oh, I didn't either. I was legitimately surprised when I looked up his record year to year because people tend to focus on one or two things just when they're talking about something in general. And the talk about Hugh Freeze is always, well, he beat Bama twice, which like I said in the video, that is something to brag about. That's good. He was there 5 years and he beat Bama twice. That's good. But he lost 4 games or more every year he was there except one.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's some elite, it's not like he was averaging 10 wins a year. He had one 10-win season. He went 10-3. That was his best year, 10-3. Every other year, he lost 4 or more games. He lost 4 games one year, 5 games another year, 6 games another year, 7 games another year. Even at Liberty, all people talk about is, well, he won 10 games at Liberty. Yeah, in the COVID year. The year after that, he lost 5 games, and then this year he lost 4.
Yeah. And another thing is, too, he also just kind of had these inexplainable losses. Like I don't know if you remember, he got blown out by TCU in the Peach Bowl.
Yep.
Then he lost to Memphis, I believe.
Yeah, lost to Memphis in the year that he went 10-3.
Yeah.
His best year ever, he lost to Memphis in the regular season.
Yeah. So he just had these weird losses on top of what you just said.
Right.
Just all losses. So, yeah, I thought that was definitely interesting. And then are you asking people to name the most disappointments of the 2022 season?
I just named the video for shits and giggles, but you can name it if you want to.
Well, I just had a few in mind.
It can't be Texas A&M. That one's too obvious. It's got to be somebody else.
No, I promise you it's not that. And then I'll be quick so you can get on. Will Anderson, big one. Clemson's defense, another one. I'm going to say Brent Venables, third biggest one.
Yep.
And, I mean, I hate to be picky here, but, I mean, just go ahead and throw the entire SEC West in there.
Yes, SEC West. Hot doo-doo.
Yeah, so that's just my thoughts on it. I'm going to let you get on with the show. I appreciate it very much. Have a good evening.
All right, buddy. Yep, appreciate you coming on, man. It's good to hear from you. Some of y'all are way out of line in the comment section. I'm not a closet Backstreet Boys fan. I'm upfront about it. So, get it straight. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's up, Uncle Lou?
Hey, bud.
What do you think will win the game between Tennessee and Clemson?
If I had to pick right now, I would pick. You know what? I can't pick right now. I got to wait and see who's quitting.
Oh, yeah.
I got to wait and see who's quitting. I can't pick these bowl games 3 weeks out. I got to wait and see the list of quitters. If Clemson's front 7 quits, then Tennessee's got a great chance of winning. If Tennessee's wide receivers quit, then Clemson, that improves Clemson's chances of winning. So I got to wait and make picks on the bowl games. I'm not making picks yet.
Yeah, I hope that Clemson can win, and I hope that K does the same thing that he did in the North Carolina game.
Yeah. Are you at the self-checkout line at Walmart?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, sounds like you're scanning groceries.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'll let you go.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you coming on. We'll talk to you next time. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
All right, Uncle Lou. I got a couple of things. I'll make it quick.
All right.
First, I want to talk about. I don't know if you remember. I actually called last week. The one that bought the national championship ticket. I need some therapy, man. I fucking hate Georgia, man. And as much as I want to, I give them their props, but y'all are a rivalry, and it's like when Alabama was winning all those championships, it was kind of easy to root for them because they were in the SEC, but they're in the West, and it's like I can't fucking stand how good y'all are, but we had our years, but also I have like really bad it's really hard for me because those years we lost to Aaron Murray was just still pissed me off to this day, because it's just hard for me to want to go to LA and see Georgia there. Like, I'm really hoping Ohio State wins, but it's like I know it's y'all time. Like, it's just y'all got a lot of guys coming back next year. Y'all could be even there for a third time, and it's like I just can't help myself. And it's like, of course, I root for y'all to lose and things like that. And it's like I can't give y'all respect because y'all in the East, and it's like we're not even competitive right now, And I want to ask you my question is, like, when Florida was relevant, obviously when we won in 2008 and 2006, how did you deal with it then? Like, for that short run we had, with Tebow and Chris Lee.
I'm trying to think now. 2008 was disappointing we had a really good team in 2008. I was disappointed with how that season. I mean, we had Matt Stafford, no Sean Moreno, and AJ Green, and couldn't even win the friggin' division. I mean, that's sad. But as far as I'm a little different than most people. If Georgia is on the outside looking, as much as I hate Alabama or Florida or whatever fill in the blank team, I pull for the SEC in major postseason games. So it doesn't really hurt me that Florida wins a national title in 2008. Now, I would rather it be Georgia, but if it's not going to be Georgia, I forget who y'all played in those years, but I would have been pulling for Florida in that game.
Well, we beat Ohio State one year. I think the other year was Oklahoma.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly how I handled it or dealt with it, but I would have been pulling for Florida in those games.
Well, it was Florida fans can be quite annoying with when we had Tebow, they was out of control and things like that, and Florida and Georgia is so close to each other. It's a lot of I'm here in Tampa, Florida. It's a lot of Georgia fans here, a lot of Florida fans here, and it's like you always run into Georgia fans. There's always shit talking, and it's like I just it's hard to respect, and it's like it's always shit talking. It's just it's so hard, and it's like, man, like the college football championship game is gonna be an experience, but I'd rather not see Georgia there if I'm being honest. And it's like it hurts my heart just knowing that y'all gonna probably beat the shit out of Ohio State, which it could go two ways, like you said. It can either be like how it was an SC championship game with Bama, they could do something like that, or it could just and the thing is like you said it. I listen to your morning show every day at work, every single day, and you said something about if it was a weeks ago. You was like, if we have a shootout, Georgia can do that. If we can play defense, we can do that. And it's like y'all prove that y'all can literally do anything.
Yeah, and that hasn't always been the case. One of my issues with Georgia over the last 5 or 6 years was we had to rely on the defense playing lights out every single week if we wanted to have any chance to beat a good team.
Y'all gave over 24 points or something. Y'all lost
Yeah,
or something.
and this year that hasn't been the case this year. The LSU game is one example of it, but now we were out to a big lead before we gave up all those points. But that's the first game Georgia has won where they have allowed more than 23 points in like 4 years.
Well, look at this, Lou. Y'all matched every energy this year. Y'all had the weirdest season because you blew out Oregon. And then South Carolina game, you didn't really whoop their ass, but it's like it could have been worse.
Oh, we beat them 48-7.
Oh, it's 48. I thought it was like 30. And then the Missouri game was just weird. It was just defense on defense. So y'all had games where y'all had shootouts, y'all blew people out. Then y'all had close games. The Kentucky game was just a defensive game. It's just all y'all games is just y'all match every team's energy. So it's like, oh, you want to do this? We can do that. And it's like you don't never know what Georgia team you're gonna get. Which is kind of a good thing because y'all can do everything the other team does, but better. But it's like, it's crazy because y'all don't have like consistent things that people can look like. When Ryan Day's looking at the tape, he's gonna be like, damn, like they beat Oregon ass, they beat Florida ass, but they also look at these games and then look at this game, and it's like, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Like y'all, every game is so different. It's not y'all not doing anything consistently. Like, and it's not like y'all throwing up Brock Bowers all day or anything like that, or during that Washington. You know, it's like it's crazy, man. But my last thing I'm gonna say, I'll make it quick, is I agree with you 100% in these guys quitting. Do you remember Kyle Trask last year? We played Oklahoma. Damn, I forgot the bowl game we played them in. But we played Oklahoma, and Kyle Pitts didn't play. Kadarius Toney didn't play. The whole damn team set out. And we got humiliated by Oklahoma.
Yep.
And I gave Trask so much respect because he literally said, I'm not sitting out. Like, this is my last year at Florida.
Yeah.
I love it here. And he had to wait forever to start. And it's like, I gave him so much respect. And it's like,
yeah, he played, but he had nobody to throw the ball to. It was a mess. And then he sat out the second half, but at least he showed up. You know, at least he showed up and played the first half. Yeah.
That damn defense was so bad. But
Yeah.
I think we would have lost anyway. But it's like just seeing Kyle Trask do that. He's the only guy I ever seen still say, no, I'm going to still go put it out on the line one last time. And Anthony Richardson, I'm not going to judge his decision to go to NFL. He's very inconsistent. I hope it works out. I don't know wish bad on people, but he should play in this game against Oregon State, whatever.
Well, yeah, he needs all the work he can get.
He needs to play in that game. He don't have enough tape for me. Like I don't think he has enough tape. I just don't.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree with you. I agree with you. All right, buddy. Hey, it was good to hear from you. I'm going to have to let you go and move on, but I appreciate you taking the time to call in. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Yeah, what that guy was saying about the bowl game against Oklahoma. Oklahoma's half their team sat out too.
Yeah, they had some players sit out too, but yeah, but something like 90% of Florida's production sat out that game on offense. I mean, everybody saw that blowout coming a mile away.
Yeah, that
was disappointing too. Because if you remember when that game was announced, like it looked like a great game, and that's the game that everyone talked about, and it ended up being an unwatchable game because of the amount of sit-outs. The Clemson-Tennessee game is this year's version of that game, and so let's just hope that these people play in that game because this is another. It's like that game got announced and people were like, okay, I'm watching that one. That's how it is this year with Clemson and Tennessee. So let's hope everybody plays in that Clemson-Tennessee game.
I went on here, did my research before I came on here about Tennessee and Clemson. They've played 5 times. Clemson is 1-4 all time against Tennessee, by the way.
Damn, the SEC is just that good, ain't it?
I guess so. That'll be 1-5 after this upcoming game on December 30th. And yeah, Tennessee's going to be all in, like Clemson, really. Going to be all in.
Balls deep.
All in, balls deep.
On the tater, man.
But yeah, that's all. I was going to come on here, just talk shit about Clemson, all that. So.
That's a good idea. The dump on the hump. Auburn would have late.
When does Pete do his lives? I need to go on there.
I strongly recommend that everyone tune in to Pigskin Pete's call-in show tomorrow night at 10 o'clock.
I'll be there.
I highly recommend that everyone watching right now tune in to Pigskin Pete's call-in show tomorrow night at 10 p.m. That would be my recommendation to everyone here.
You know what's bad?
Pete's crazy. You don't know who's going to show up on his shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. I'll be there. Ohio State fans, first now they got to get embarrassed by Georgia in the playoffs, and Marvin Harrison didn't even get Blenikoff Award, so now they got to cry about 2 things coming up.
Who'd they give it to? Hyatt?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank God. Boy, oh my God. If Hyatt wouldn't have won that thing, shit.
Tennessee fans would have been everywhere.
My God. Because y'all wake up in the morning waiting on a reason to get mad about something. So thank God y'all won something.
Hey, we get to feel good about ourselves before the bowl game.
There you go.
Something. But yeah, I'm gonna head out of here. Let you get your thing on.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you coming on. Good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to go to my secondary choice in the YouTuber transfer portal, seeing that I put my offer out there to Uncle Lou in the transfer portal and never got a response.
What was the offer?
Farmhouse, 20 minutes from Tybee with ribeyes.
Oh, no,
and
I responded to somebody that mentioned Tybee Island.
And then Tybee Island for seafood, and then you have your choice. You can either stay in the farmhouse or you can stay in the condo on Tybee.
Yeah, somebody invited me to Tybee, and I typed back, yeah, I love Tybee. I want to be buried under Bernie's when I die, right down there by the pier. I love Tybee Island. I spent, we used to go probably 10, 12 years in a row. We did a week. We rented the same house right on the beach every year for 10 or 12 years in a row. I love Tybee Island.
Well, I got pretty fortunate. My grandfather, like 60 years ago, when Tybee wasn't nothing at all, and it's still not the greatest beach town, but I just love it. It's a throwback.
Well, I do too. That's why I love it. I love it because it's not Myrtle Beach or Daytona or whatever.
Right.
That's the draw for Tybee Island.
Well, he bought a little bungalow like 60 years ago down there for 13 grand.
Damn.
And over the years, it's just passed down through the family, and slowly, like every generation's just put a little bit into upgrades. And so we got fortunate to have a place down there.
Yeah.
You could get crazy money for anything down there now. But
oh, I'm sure.
He loved it down there, so he snatched one up, and we've been going ever since.
Nice.
But where did you decide to end up going?
I'm headed to the Somerville/Charleston area.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I know you were a hot commodity when you hit that transfer portal.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling being pulled in so many different directions, but I had to make a decision. Now, the good news is this is not the only official visit I will be taking.
Okay.
So there will be additional ones coming up. So that's the good news.
Well, when I saw the craziest transfer story, I said, man, let me click on there. There's no telling what's happened. And then I saw your video. I couldn't help but laugh. I said, that's a new one. Uncle Lou's in the transfer.
Let me ask you this. Now, if I were to make an official visit, but I stayed in Savannah, because there's not a whole lot of places to stay on Tybee Island. So maybe I did like a weekend in Savannah, but I drove out to Tybee Island to eat at Bernie's. Would that be something that would interest you?
Well, yeah, you can do whatever.
Yeah, and you would meet me at Bernie's.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we might can work something out.
Have you ever been to Spanky's or Fanny's right there on the strip?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I've been. Like I said, we went down there 10 or 12 years in a row. So all that.
Okay.
Everywhere down there. Yeah.
It's all, you can't go wrong. I go to there's a couple of different places down there, but it was definitely good food, good times.
Is it
anytime, brother?
Is that where Huckapoo's is?
Yep, yeah. Huckapoo's. And if you go to Huckapoo's, they've got good seafood, but what I always tell folks is you can get a slice of pizza. It's like $4 and it's like twice the size of your head. It's like the best deal on the island. It's like $4 and you get one slice of pizza and you have leftovers. That's how big it is.
Yeah. You know where the water tower is, right when the road curves around towards the beach?
Yep.
The water tower's on the right. We stayed in a house across the street from that water tower for I know 10, 12 years in a row. We rented the exact same house from the exact same lady year after year after year after year.
Oh, that's awesome.
When my mother died 3 or 4 years ago, we went back down there and spread her ashes on the beach right out in front of that house. She loved it down there.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm always looking for a reason to go back down there. Yeah, it is a cool place. Oh, he dropped off. But yeah, I would love to take an official visit to the Savannah/Tybee Island area. Hopefully that's something that can be arranged sooner rather than later. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Lou, how are you, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I got a couple points I want to get through. First off, I got to hype you up on the Ohio State PSA video. That was absolutely hilarious.
Oh, thank you.
I love that video. It's amazing. Secondly, I've been seeing a lot on Twitter after the doke got handed out to my boy Bijan Robinson. People were saying Corum deserved it, and I want to discuss with you your thoughts on the point that I'm making is that I think Blake Corum was a product of that offensive line because of the fact that against Ohio State, Blake Corum didn't play, and they still rushed for 200 yards on Ohio State. So
Right.
is it Blake Corum or is it their offensive line?
Well, I mean, I think it's hard for any running back to be really good with a terrible offensive line. So, I mean, I'm trying to think of the last good running back that had a terrible offensive line. It's probably hard to think of one, but I get the point you're making. I mean, one of those two guys, I wouldn't have been mad if either one of those two guys would have won. If anyone else would have won, I think that would have been wrong. If they would have given it to Corum, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. I don't have a problem with giving it to Bijan either.
That's fair. I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like Bijan took, two freshmen starting on the offensive line, a very young, inexperienced offensive line, and still had an incredible season. Corum had one of the, most physical offensive lines in college football.
Yeah, you're cutting out. But, I mean, is C.J. Stroud no good because he's throwing to NFL wide receivers? You know what I mean?
Not necessarily. I see your point. Not necessarily.
Caleb Williams, he's throwing to NFL wide receivers. Does that mean that Stetson Bennett is better than those two players? Because Stetson Bennett's throwing to a bunch of wide receivers who will never play a down in the NFL. So does that make Stetson Bennett better than Caleb Williams and C.J. Stroud?
I see your point. I think it's also with Stroud and Williams, I think their football IQ is really high as well, and they're really good at making quick decisions.
Yeah.
And they're very good at extending plays and making things happen. Bennett's pretty good at it too, but he doesn't use his legs to the same extent that.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that Bennett should win the Heisman. I'm just saying when you're trying to figure out who should win a running back award based off the offensive line, how far do you want to take that? I mean, it's hard to, is a quarterback good because he has a good wide receiver? What if Blake Corum's a good running back regardless of the offensive line?
That's true.
And so is
I'll give him
Bijan
that.
Robinson.
That's very true. Well, that's all I got. I appreciate your time.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you calling in. It was good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. Okay, that didn't last long. He was an Alabama fan, so it's probably for the best. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou. I've been a big fan for a long time. How you doing? This is my first time calling in.
Yeah, doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Just wanted to tell you a quick story and then ask you a question.
Yeah.
So I'm from Arizona. My dad's from Colorado. So I grew up a Broncos fan.
Uh-huh.
I was never really into college football until about middle school, high school. Had to pick a college team. My favorite player at the time was Champ Bailey, so
nice.
I picked Georgia Bulldogs. So
yeah, there you go.
I came in right around the Matt Stafford, Knowshon Moreno time. So, I've been a fan for a long time.
Yeah.
And, I've been watching some of the games over. I watched our game against LSU, and I watched Michigan, Ohio State. And I know a lot of people have really strong opinions on Kaylee Ringo right now.
Yeah. Who's from Arizona, by the way.
One of those,
He's from Arizona, by the way. You probably already knew that.
I actually did not know that. He went to high school in Arizona?
Yeah, we went out there and got him fair and square.
Hey, that's what we do, man. That's what Kirby does.
That's right.
But no, I mean, I know a lot of people have been hard on him. I've kind of been a little bit hard on him, but I realize in straight up man coverage, when receivers go deep, he pretty much runs routes for guys.
Yeah.
It's a lot of times in zone where he's got to get hip technique in and kind of getting to the point where people are doing zone beaters and sitting in zones and people are yelling at Kaylee Ringo. And, I think we're playing really good defense, and this game is going to come down to a lot more than just Kaylee Ringo versus Marvin Harrison Jr. What do you think of that matchup, and what do you think about the overall matchup of our defense versus Ohio State's offense?
Yeah, well, I think Keely Ringo is one of the best corners in the country, and Marvin Harrison is one of the best wide receivers in the country, and they're both about to make a whole lot of money in the NFL. Keely's going to be a top 10 pick, probably the first cornerback taken. So I think both things can be true.
Absolutely.
Keely is an elite-level corner. He also played bad in the LSU game. Now, you mentioned zone coverage. Kirby came out in the post-game press conference and said that one touchdown in the end zone that looked to us to be Keely Ringo's fault was not Keely Ringo's fault. That was Malachi Stark's fault.
Yeah.
Because that was, like you mentioned, that was a zone coverage play.
Yep.
Keely passed him off to Malachi. Malachi didn't pick him up.
Jumping up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was one of the people jumping up and down, yelling at Keely Ringo on that play. And, I watched the game back, and I'm like, oh, no, I think, he had pretty good coverage on that play.
Yeah. So as far as the matchup between him and Marvin Harrison goes, Marvin Harrison's going to win some of those matchups, period.
Yep.
And Keely's going to win some. Now, Keely's got to play better than he played against LSU, and Marvin Harrison's going to have to play better than whatever his worst game was. I don't know what his worst game was, but they'll both be at their best in that game, and I expect each one of them to win some and lose some. And then, of course, on the other side, you'll have Lassiter and, I guess, Emeka Ibuka, I guess, will be another interesting matchup too. But, yeah, so I don't like when players play bad, but I've seen enough from Keely Ringo to know he's a good football player, and I don't expect to have another performance like that from him in the playoff game. But, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. He's going to be the first corner taken. I mean, he's an elite level corner.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think this is going to be the cakewalk some Georgia fans think it's going to be, and I don't think it's going to be as close as some Ohio State fans think it's going to be. I think the games where, I think we try to control the game as much as we do. Is I know me and you kind of hate the same things about the offense that about us kind of getting conservative when we get up on leads. I think we're going to kind of have one of those games. I see it being a close enough game to keep it interesting, but not enough to where, we're going to be scared here at home. At least that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I think Georgia will win by double digits. I mean, I don't think Ohio State can compete with Georgia along either line of scrimmage. And as long as Georgia is not being blown out at halftime, I think Georgia's going to win the game. I think Georgia will wear them out as the game goes on. So if even if Ohio State's up by 7 at halftime or something, I'm not going to be worried. Now, if they're up 21 at halftime, that's a different story. But I think Georgia will win the game. I think it'll probably be double digits. I'm not talking 30 points. I'm talking, 2 touchdowns, 13 points, something like that, 10 point, whatever. I don't think it'll be a 1-possession game at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I had. I wanted to just tell you that story and, ask you that question about the defense. But, just want to let you know it's, I've been a fan for a long time, and it's good to listen to people who actually watch football more than just for entertainment and actually love the sport and know what's going on in the game. So
what
keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate it.
Yeah. What part of Arizona are you in?
So actually, it's funny enough, I'm living in St. Louis right now, but I'm from Flagstaff, Arizona.
Okay. My mom was born in Snowflake, Arizona. Do you know where that is?
Yeah, absolutely. We played them in football and track all the time.
I've never been out there. I'd love to go out to Arizona one day due to Grand Canyon, that whole deal. But
Snowflake is more up north, which is kind of where I'm from in Flagstaff.
Yeah.
When you think that part of Arizona, think more Utah, think more Colorado, more than you do think like Phoenix, Arizona.
She used
Phoenix,
to tell
Arizona
me
is straight desert.
She used to tell me that in the same day they could drive an hour up a mountain, play in the snow, then drive an hour down the mountain and go swimming in the same day.
Absolutely. Arizona has been known certain times of the year to be at the same time the coldest and the hottest place in the entire United States.
Yeah.
It'll be 30 degrees in Flagstaff and 88 degrees in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Well, because Flagstaff is sitting over 7,000 feet.
Damn. That's something serious.
Yeah, so I used to practice in that. So when them teams from the Valley came up, I was a really, really small D2 school. And when those teams from the Valley came up, they were a hell of a lot more talented than us. But we would stay in some of those games just because they couldn't breathe.
Yeah, that's right. All right, buddy. It was good to hear from you, man. I hope you'll call back in again. That was a good call. All right, Alabama man wants to give it another try. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Uncle Lou, how are you this fine morning, sir?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
Yeah,
good.
I'm doing well. I apologize for dropping out on you.
That's okay.
Chose the wrong time to go to the bathroom.
Well, it happens. So you gotta go. Okay. You gotta go. So.
I'm not going to take up much time of your time tonight, Uncle Lou. I just wanted to talk about the hypocrisy that is have been created on our for our good buddies out on the plains.
Auburn?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, hiring that douchebag known as Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, well, it shouldn't be a surprise. This is the same school that's currently employing Bruce Pearl as their head basketball coach. So They're risk takers when it comes to hiring their head coaches. So it doesn't surprise me. And like I said in the video earlier, he's a huge improvement over Brian Harsin in terms of wins and losses. There's no doubt in my mind Auburn's going to be a better football team with Hugh Freeze as coach than they were with Brian Harsin. My issues with Hugh Freeze are less football related and more other stuff. Well, they're loosely tied to football. I mean, with the buying players and the cheating. And people say, well, yeah, but you can do that now. Well, yeah, but if someone has already showed you that they're willing to cheat, just because how they cheated before is now legal doesn't mean they won't be willing to find another way to cheat now. So I don't know. I wouldn't want him at Georgia, just like I wouldn't want Jeremy Pruitt at Georgia. Jeremy Pruitt's a great defensive coach. Hugh Freeze is a good offensive coach, but I wouldn't want him around Georgia. But Auburn will be a better football team with Hugh Freeze than they were Brian Harsin. Now, I'm not convinced Hugh Freeze is going to get them somewhere Gus Malzahn couldn't get them, but it'll be an improvement over Harsin.
I don't think Freeze will ever pull a 2013 Gus Malzahn type deal with the miracle of Jordan Hare and the kick six and all that bull crap, which Auburn fans still love to harp on.
Yeah.
Hey, can you remind me how that season ended? Just want to know.
What 2013?
Yeah, I just want to know.
Well, they got beat by Florida State in the national title game.
Yeah, and ended the SEC's national championship winning streak. So thanks a lot, Barner.
Yeah, and blew a huge lead. They were winning at halftime and choked in the second half.
Oh yeah, 21-3.
Yeah, what a
embarrassing.
Joke. Yeah, it was.
Piss poor.
Yeah, piss poor, pathetic. Yep, that's all that's accurate.
Yeah, I've just had to heard for so many years, Uncle Lou, about how Alabama is the worst of the two big state of Alabama schools, and how morally superior they are, and how we're a family. We have each other's back no matter what. And then they go out and hire this prostitute loving, thump you over the Bible guy named Hugh Freeze. And then it's one of those facepalm moments, Uncle Lou. It's just one of those crazy things.
Yeah, it's weird.
And I'm just like, wow, Auburn is hypocrite you.
Wow.
Hypocrite you.
That's a shame.
It's a damn shame.
All right, Gump man. I appreciate you coming on, buddy.
Thank you very much, Uncle Lou. Have a good morning.
Yeah, you too. Good to hear from you. I think these people might have already been on. Let's see. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
A little bit of debate in the chat. Not much of a debate. More like a hate crime going on. How are you doing today?
Doing great.
Oh God, I'm trying to get situated here. We've been I've been hearing conversation over the Ohio State Georgia game. They talk about the overall different sides of the ball matchups as a whole. What do you think would be our best matchup? Do you think the one-on-one matchups with the receivers, or do you think we have to beat them at the line in order to make Stroud pressure the rest of the game?
Well, I think that's going to be the game plan is to keep pressure on C.J. Stroud. I mean, the longer you let him sit back there, I'm going to make fun of Ohio State a lot over the next 3 weeks, but the reality is C.J. Stroud is one of the best quarterbacks in college football, and if you let him sit in the pocket, he will pick Georgia apart. I mean, I don't care how good your secondary is. They can't cover those wide receivers for 5 and 6 seconds every play. They can't. So Georgia's going to have to find a way to get pressure on C.J. Stroud, and no matter whatever level a quarterback is, that level drops a little bit when they're under pressure. So you put C.J. Stroud under pressure, and he's going to be uncomfortable. Maybe you force him into a mistake or two. Maybe you get a couple of sacks here and there on some key third downs that end some drives. But you can't let him – he's not somebody – the defense that we played in the second half against LSU will not be the defense we play against C.J. Stroud. We're not going to let C.J. Stroud sit in that pocket like Nussmeier did. It's not going to happen. It's going to be a similar defense to what we played against Tennessee. It's going to be press man coverage on the outside. If you beat us, but you're only going to have 2.5 seconds to do it because we're going to be all over C.J. Stroud. That's going to be the game plan, I think.
Oh, definitely. That was the point I was going to bring up because we saw what happened with in the second half. We gave him too much time in the pocket, and he was throwing darts over the middle, and then he got that fourth down touchdown throw.
Yeah.
Was it late in the third, or was that mid fourth?
Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah.
But yeah. I mean, give credit to LSU. LSU right now, I'd say, is one of the top 3 wide receiver universities probably in the SEC.
Yeah, they've got a lot of talent. And
I mean,
when
you
they
saw what
switched
Malik
quarterbacks,
Neighbors and
Georgia wasn't
Kayshon Boutte
prepared.
was doing.
Yeah, I mean,
And they were
Georgia's
just-
game plan for Jaden Daniels was to contain him because he likes to run. So it wasn't necessarily to sack Jaden Daniels, but it was to contain him so that if he took off running, he didn't gain 20 yards. He might have gained, he only gained a couple. Well, when they put Nussmeier in, he sat in the pocket. So that containment strategy didn't work. And we sat back in zone coverage, and he picked us apart. And it's not like Nussmeier was completing 5-yard passes. He was completing 20 and 30-yard passes through the air downfield. But that won't be the defense that we play against Ohio. If you want to see what Georgia's going to try to do to Ohio State, go watch the Tennessee game. That's what Georgia's going to try to do. Now, will they be successful? I don't know, but I have a feeling they will. But that's the defense that I think Georgia's going to play against Ohio State. Press man coverage on the outside. If you beat us, you beat us. But you're going to have to beat us in under 3 seconds because we're bringing the house. That's what I think.
I mean, give credit to Ohio State. They have Marvin Harrison, and they had number 2. I can't ever pronounce his name.
Emeka Egbuka.
But isn't he out for this game coming up?
Well, no, Jackson Najigma Smith's out, but he hasn't played all year. He hasn't played since week 2.
Oh, okay.
He's like their version of A.D. Mitchell. He's really good, but how much can you really miss somebody if they haven't played all year? Like, would I like to have A.D. Mitchell for the playoffs? Sure. Are we going to miss him if we don't have him? No, he hasn't played since week 2. Same thing with Jackson Smith-Njigba. Now, Jackson Smith-Njigba's way better than A.D. Mitchell. I'm not comparing them talent-wise. I'm just saying both Ohio State and Georgia have gone through 95% of their season without those 2 players. So, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Ohio State's got plenty of wide receivers, I promise you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's no doubt about it. Well, yeah, with A.D. Mitchell, I mean, we saw this kind of last year with Pickens. No, we didn't have Pickens the first 3 games, or let alone the first game at all, but we saw him come into the back end of the season and the postseason, and we saw him, bullying the defenses.
Right.
Do you think we're going to see that same kind of thing with Mitchell, or do you think we're going to, hold him out in Ohio State and then wait to kind of release him?
Yeah, I don't know, because he played a ton of snaps against LSU. He didn't have any receptions. He had a touchdown pass on the 2-point conversion. He played a lot. We just didn't throw him the ball. So we'll see how much we use him in the playoffs, but he looked pretty good to me.
I think my key things to look for in this game is the battle at line of scrimmage. Main thing. I think the matchup between Keely Ringo and Marvin Harrison, that's going to be a big thing to watch out for. And then I'd just say coaching.
Yeah, well, I think Georgia's got a huge coaching staff advantage and a huge lines of scrimmage advantage. And I'll take my chances in any game with those 2 advantages. If you tell me Georgia's going to have advantages on the lines of scrimmage and a coaching advantage, I like my odds there. And I think Georgia's got a significant coaching advantage. And I'm not just talking about Kirby versus Ryan Day. I'm talking about staff versus staff. Georgia might have the best staff in all of college football. And I don't think there's any question about who has the better lines of scrimmage. I don't think even Ohio State fans – look, it's easy for me to admit that Ohio State has a better quarterback and better wide receivers than Georgia has. That's easy for me to admit. It should be just as easy for Ohio State man to admit that Georgia has better lines of scrimmage. If they don't admit that, they're either football ignorant or they're lying to themselves. Those are the only 2 choices because Georgia's lines of scrimmage are a lot better than Ohio State's on both sides of the ball.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Okay, I want to get on a different track of this. So earlier someone was mentioning the whole Heisman candidacy around Blake Corum over there for Michigan. He's been injured the past couple of weeks. I understand that. You talk about offensive line, and if you have such a good offensive line and you're voting for Heisman candidacy on a running back, where's the quarterback stat in that?
Yeah, well, that was what I was trying to. That's the point I was making is, okay, how far do you want to take that? You're not going to vote a running back for Heisman because he's got a good offensive line. Okay, well, I guess get rid of C.J. Stroud and Caleb Williams because they're throwing NFL wide receivers. I mean, you can't look at it that way.
And if you want to talk about offense, you might as well just throw J.J. McCarthy in there. I mean, if you have such a good offensive line, then how come your quarterback's not Heisman candidacy?
Well, your offensive, well,
sets up the run game, yes, but if it's that good, then where's the argument there?
yeah, I don't really understand the point you're making about why I don't get that. Georgia's had one of the best offensive lines in the country for 10 years and quarterbacks that can't complete a pass, so I don't see the connection there.
Fair point.
Thank you for the call.
Right.
That got a little too ridiculous there at the end. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Okay, I know I'm.
You're a
back on
repeat
here
offender.
No, so
All right, what now?
I was gonna ask you one thing.
Yeah.
And that was So I know we all know NIL, how big it is on in college level, but so the TSSAA, which is like the high school athletic thing for Tennessee states and all that. So how do you think that affects, like, because they just passed a bill where NIL is left for high school athletes? How do you think that affects high school athletics in general? Like NIL in high school.
I don't really know or care.
Okay, well, that's what I was going to ask you. So I didn't really know how, like, because you know the impact of like how NIL is on college. So I didn't know like how you would think that would be.
Do you think so? I don't know. So are you suggesting that there's going to be business owners who are going to pay a family $500,000 to move from one county to another so they can play for a different high school team?
No, I was just asking like how you thought that would be compared to like college, like how it'd be in high school.
I don't have any idea. I mean, I could give a shit less where somebody plays high school football. So I mean, it doesn't matter to me. What are they doing? Recruiting middle schoolers with NIL money out of high? I mean, I don't understand what do you think's going to happen?
I don't know. So like,
you think someone's transferring from one high school to another because some other school's giving them a high? I don't understand.
I don't know. So apparently today they passed a bill where NIL is allowed in high school.
Right. You said that. So you said that. Right.
So there was apparently it's like people that just go to high schools, but apparently they're just like it's business.
Spit it out, man. You called up. What is it you're trying to say? Are you suggesting that a college is going to pay high school players? Is that what you're suggesting? Or are you suggesting that
I'm saying like
some guy that owns a donut shop is going to pay some family $100,000 to move from one high school to another? What are you suggesting?
The company is partnering with the high school athlete like it does in college.
Okay.
And it's not to go to another high school. It's just for that kid.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how they're saying it would work.
Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Lou.
Hello?
Hey, Lou. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, Lou, this is Philip. Got a question. What do you think about the Phil Longo to Wisconsin?
I don't know who the hell that is.
NC's offensive coordinator.
NC State's offense was horrific this year.
Yeah, but I heard people talking about how, how the last few years they've had, a top 15 offense, and they're saying that this coordinator is, the main reason why. I think it's more quarterback play, but
yeah, I don't know. I know their offense was a huge disappointment this year. So it's so bad that I guess you say the offensive coordinator's looking to leave, the quarterback's looking to transfer, Devin Leary. So I don't know. Maybe that's why Devin Leary's leaving. I don't know.
Right.
Anything would be an improvement at Wisconsin at this point over what they had the last couple of years, though.
Yeah, you damn right about that.
Yeah.
Hey, by chance, you hear about Mertz going to Kentucky?
Mertz?
Yeah, Graham Mertz.
From Wisconsin?
Yep.
Oh, God.
I know,
Kentucky's
right?
going 6-6 next year.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what Kentucky was thinking with that one. That was just off the wall.
Yeah, he's terrible.
All right, Lou, I'm gonna get out of here, Mo. My phone's about to die. All right.
Okay, that's a shame.
All right, you have
yeah, you too. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Morning. How you doing?
They're doing good.
Couple of serious questions and a funny question. All right.
Yeah, you're gonna have to speak up a little bit. I can't hardly hear anything you're saying.
Couple of serious questions and then one funny one.
Okay.
Okay. One, do you think Georgia's gonna break the bank to keep Todd Monken? Because I would.
Yeah, well, they just gave him a raise and an extension, I think, a couple of weeks ago. So I hope he stays. Yeah, I hope he stays. I would give him whatever it takes to keep him.
Yeah. Open up that offense and we'll do a lot. So that's just me personally. There?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. My internet was trying to go out on me. Two, I know you said that you don't think that Stetson will win the Heisman. You personally, I would probably give it to CJ over Williams. Wouldn't you?
No, I'd give it to Caleb Williams.
Okay. And my funny question. Do you think that Auburn is going to have prostitutes on NIL or not because Hugh Freeze is there, but they don't have Urban Meyer on their NIL board?
Yeah, so will Auburn have prostitutes on NIL? That's a good question. That's a good question. Hey, thank you for the call. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's up, Uncle?
Hey, what's up?
About this man was talking about Clemson earlier.
Yeah, he was.
I know he ain't talking because he literally was crying that they wouldn't get in the playoffs. At least Clemson knows that we don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, Tennessee fans wake up crying every morning, and they figure out the reason as the day goes along.
Exactly, just like Alabama fans.
Oh man, is that true? You might be right.
They got their coach looking like a dang fool. I'm glad that Dabo knows that they don't deserve to be in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, they don't.
I hope they can get. Yeah, they don't. And I hope they can get in there next year, maybe.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see.
Maybe,
you got a good quarterback finally. It looks like with that Klubnik, but you need some wide receivers, and you got a lot to replace on defense.
Yeah, I think Antonio Williams is a really good wide receiver.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Will Shipley's good at running back too, but you think Dabo's going to finally get some players out of the portal this year, or still pretend it doesn't exist?
I don't know. It's hard to say. Being Dabo, I think he's not even going to go in the portal.
He's not even going to go in the portal, huh?
Probably isn't. Isn't.
He might be dumber than I thought he was. He better go in the portal. There's talent in there.
Yeah, I hope he goes in the portal. Well, who do you think's gonna win Heisman?
I would vote for out of the four finalists. I would vote for Caleb Williams.
The thing is, he had a bad game the last time he played, though.
That's true, but a lot of people had already voted.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah.
But they were saying that they were also saying that the QB from North Carolina, Tar Heels.
Yeah, he had a good year. He'll be back next year. He'll be a Heisman favorite heading into the season next year.
Yeah, I think Clemson was trying to get him as the QB.
Well, they're not going to get him. He's staying at North Carolina.
Yeah. No, they were trying to get him before he went to North Carolina.
Oh, yeah. Well, that didn't work. Got Cade Klubnik instead.
Yeah, I'm glad they got Cade. Cade's pretty good. He's pretty good. He can go downfield finally, and then he can run the ball pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely looks better than DJ.
exactly, unlike DJ, because you think of it, Cade has what DJ doesn't. DJ, he can run the ball. The good thing about DJ is he's a big dude, so it's hard to bring him down, but he's too slow.
Yeah.
You remember in that like Carolina game probably at the first drive he ran, he would have probably took it to the house if he was running faster.
Yeah, not DJ though. He can't move around like that. You say he's probably transferring out to the West Coast.
Yeah.
A little bit easier out there.
Yeah, I'm happy he's gone.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, but Tennessee cannot be talking. We're favored to win that.
Tennessee stays talking. There's nothing. Look, trust me. They're going to talk the whole time, and then if they lose, they'll disappear. But this is how these people operate.
Yeah, I can't wait for that game. But tell them to humble themselves.
All right, I will. Thanks for calling in, buddy.
Right.
It was good to hear from you.
Yeah.
Man said y'all Tennessee fans need to humble yourselves. Good morning, you're on with Uncle Lou.
Hello?
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 I don't know why they call up and say hello. I don't know why they do that. Call up and say hello.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
All right, my fault. So I just wanted to piggyback off what the kid was saying about Clemson and the transfer portal. So I'm actually I'm pretty close with like a lot of the Clemson recruits and stuff. And the word that I've heard is that we are going to use the transfer portal this year to get multiple wide receivers, and we've already offered like multiple wide receivers, including that wide receiver from Missouri. What's his name? Lovett, I think's his name. And then we have a couple other offers as well. So it looks like we are actually going to make a move in the portal this year.
I think that's a smart decision on Dabo's part.
But I mean, that all depends whether a recruit wants to even come to Clemson after what Dabo said about the portal in the past. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was a recruit a portal player, I wouldn't want to transfer to Clemson because of Dabo's position on the portal and like how willing he will be to play those players, rather than play his young players that he's recruited since they were in 8th grade or whatever. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I don't know. I thought I'd let you know that information because I'm pretty close with like a lot of the recruits, and so I've heard from quite a few people that we are going to the portal this year. So we'll see.
Yep. All right, buddy. Appreciate you coming on. Good to hear from you. Did this guy just come back on again? Again?
Well, it kicked me out. So I just came back on.
Oh, well, let me ask you something. Let me ask you something real quick. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Attention. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Mesothelioma is a rare cancer linked to asbestos exposure. Exposure to asbestos in the Navy, shipyards, mills, heating, construction, or the automotive industries may have put you at risk. Please don't wait. Call 1-800-99-LAW-USA for a free legal consultation and financial information packet. Mesothelioma patients call now. 1-800-99-LAW-USA.
Your thoughts on that?
What? Oh, that? Well, there could be a chance on like him going into the portal. Well, there could be a chance he goes in the portal. I mean, I'll be happy if he goes into the portal, but if Cade shows out like he did in North Carolina, he continues to do that, I feel like Clemson will get some pretty good recruits, but not as much as good ones, but some pretty good ones. Yeah, but I hope he does. I really hope he does.
Yeah. He better.
Exactly. I'm kind of glad that they're extending the playoffs to 12, too.
Yeah, that way Clemson can get back in.
Yeah, it's gonna be more interesting too.
I think so too.
Yeah. I mean, for like people are trying to fight and all that, and you just got 4 teams, and it's just you have 2 games, and then 1 more game, and it's done. Like, I thought it was just gonna be expanded to 8, but I mean, 12 was fine with me.
Yeah,
You have that.
It's gonna be 12, I guess.
Yeah. I wish Clemson would have lost to South Carolina.
Oh, got humiliated.
Exactly. That just pissed me off.
See that? Hated to see that.
I mean, I hope we can beat them next year.
Should be able to.
Should be able to. After we got DJ off our backs. I mean, I kind of I thought at first it was our receiver's fault. I mean, I kind of think it's DJ's fault, but I mean, it's both because I mean, you see, I mean, it kind of wasn't DJ's, but it kind of was. It kind of was because I mean, with Cade.
Well, he completed 30% of his passes for like 80 yards. It was pretty much his fault. Pretty much.
Yeah. So, but
really, it was Dabo's fault though. It was Dabo's fault really for not playing Cade Klubnik. That's really whose fault.
Well, I think he made a promise to DJ and he couldn't.
Well, he made a promise to win games when he was hired, so that's his number one job: win games, not protect people's feelings. So sometimes you got to put people on the bench, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think he was still working with him, and he said Cade's still not ready. He's still working with him, but he's pretty good. It's like Trevor Lawrence 2.0 to me. Yeah, but I think Clemson should be able to come out with the win on Tennessee. And also, I got this person that who's talking about it's an Alabama fan. So of course they go, and then he's saying that I said he's saying that we're not going to beat Tennessee, and he said because that Alabama's better than Clemson, and so I said to name one good team that y'all won against, and he said Texas A&M. I'm like, what are you saying? Texas A&M is not good. Yeah, but he just can't stop. He just can't admit it.
All right. Hey, I'm going to have to let you go. There's other people waiting that haven't called in 4 times.
All right, my fault.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you next week. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Oh, I'll go back to the back room.
Yep. Good morning. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning, Uncle Lou. How are you doing?
I'm doing good in that.
All right. I'm calling from Dalton, Georgia, so right on the line of Tennessee and Alabama. Anytime that
carpet country.
Yes, sir. Anytime that there's some rivalry game, Tennessee, Alabama, there's always a lot of chattering going on. I always have to send people your videos after the game because usually Georgia wins. But anyway, I don't know if you've spoken on it already, but what's your opinion on the Jackson State Deion Sanders allegations of Deion Sanders paying for a lot of the facilities and scholarship money being relocated to general funds and stuff like that?
I don't know anything about all that.
Would you like me to explain it?
Not really.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for having me.
All right, buddy. Yeah, it was good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's going on, Lou?
Hey, what's up, bud?
Well, go Dogs, baby. Hey.
Yes, sir.
I've been wanting to ask about Eric Gilbert, man. Why hadn't Eric Gilbert got any playtime at Georgia? You know anything
He's
about
got
that?
some emotional or mental stuff going on or something.
I know it's the greatest thing in the world to come play tight end at Georgia, but, man, he needs to get over that, you know?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. They keeping that hush-hush. He only dresses out for about half the games. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't want to speculate on what it might be, so I don't know.
One of those G14 classified kind of deals, huh?
I guess.
Well, I sure hate that. You know, we already loaded it. Tight end ain't no deal about that. But Lord have mercy, man. Think about how great we could be with Eric Gilbert out there too.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I'd love to have him, but for whatever reason, it's not happening. At least not this year.
I can't complain what we got going on, man. I was just gonna call in and holler at you. I've been wanting to ask that all year for some reason.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he'll stick around and come back next year and get it together. I don't know, but I wouldn't count on anything from him for this season. Thank you for the call, though. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey.
Hey,
Lou.
How you doing?
Do you think we can make a bowl game next year?
Who?
If we hire A&M. I'm an A&M fan.
Oh, Texas A&M. The answer is yes.
If we hire a good
Yes.
offensive coordinator.
Yes.
Which I think.
Yes. I would
I think
answer
we're
that
gonna
question
get-
yes every year. There's never a reason where Texas A&M shouldn't make a bowl game. So, I mean, I know they didn't this year, but
I think if you look at our talent and then our record, then we were probably one of the worst teams in the country.
Well, you were, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, you were.
And then adding the talent, we were probably the worst.
Right.
Because Colorado isn't even close.
yeah, and you've lost what 25 people to the portal already.
I think
It's
it's
in
in
the
the
20s.
20s.
Yeah, it's
But
bad.
most of them are backups and then some.
Well, you say they're
troublemakers.
backups, but it's all your 5-stars from last year's signing class. So, I mean,
Well, I think-
those were all players that were supposed to be the stars of the team this coming season and next season, 23 and 24, and they're all leaving. So,
I think the people
5-star
that
wide
we really,
receiver, all this kind of stuff.
the people that we need to keep, like Wigman, Evan Stewart, Walter Nolan, Shamar Stewart, they're staying, and then Chris Marshall and Denver Harris. That's pretty big loss, but they were both involved in all the incidents that we had in the locker room.
Yeah.
So I'm not even sure that's because we're just bad. It's because, I think they both got kicked off the team.
Oh, damn. Might have had some issues there.
Yeah,
Some
we
issues
have issues with 5-stars. We had Damon Demas a few years ago who, I don't even know what he's doing. He got kicked off the team because he kept getting in domestic abuse.
Did somebody get in a fight with Jimbo Fisher's son this season?
I don't know if that's true.
I don't either, but I'd heard
I've
that.
seen that, but I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole smoking weed in the South Carolina locker room. I mean, that's just.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's just an open middle finger to your coach.
Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff I think was Jimbo. The whole thing about the wearing the sleeves, that's a little bit too much. But look, in Jimbo's defense, when you've got a team or a group amongst the team or whatever that is kind of like just running wild, sometimes the only way to deal with that is to completely crack down. And enforce every little bitty rule. And so maybe that's what he was trying to do, but it came across as being a little petty on Jimbo's part with the sleeves thing. But I don't know. I feel like just this whole season's a complete wash for A&M. But they better find out a way to win some games next year because this was unacceptable.
Definitely. Now, the good thing is Jimbo has said that he's going to let the offensive coordinator call plays. So
Right.
we're not going to have this just abysmal 3-and-out offense like we've had the past few years.
Yeah, that would be great.
And, the sleeves thing, what's funny about that is I think James Coley has a big part in that. I think it's Jimbo and James Coley's rule.
Yeah, I don't like him either. James
I think
Coley.
he's our receivers coach.
He was at Georgia for a while, and he was terrible.
Yeah.
I didn't like
Wasn't
him. Not
offensive
personally. I'm sure
coordinator.
he's a great guy. I'm talking purely from a football standpoint. I didn't like him when he was at Georgia.
Yeah, he was you called him the coffee boy. I remember that. He was Kirby's coffee boy.
Yeah, I didn't like him at all. At all. All right, buddy. I appreciate you. Good luck next year. I don't know what else to say. You better get it turned around. Jimbo's seat getting warm out there. If Texas A&M mess around and find a little bit of money, Jimbo could find himself out of a job. By a little bit of money, I mean a whole lot of money. Tim Forston, thank you for the super chat. He says sources. Trust me, bro. Okay. Tevin Spencer, thank you for the super chat. Super Denny Gumper, thank you for the super chat. He says, Auburn has been yapping all decade long about how morally superior than Bama. Then they go out and hire a prostitute-loving buffoon named Hugh Freeze. The hypocrisy is unmatched. Thank you, Gumper. Agent Z, thank you for the super chat. He says, woo, I heard Dion brought his own luggage, and it's Louis. I think, am I caught up already? Getting filled up in the back room. Yeah, I think I'm caught up there now. Okay, good. Good. Let's check the other ones. I'm going to get out of here. Let's see. What in the heck's going on here? Tracy B. Thank you for hitting the Cash App to help support the show. Tracy B. I sure appreciate that. You're good people. Y'all okay in the comments? I'm going to have to get out of here. Is it late? Yes, it is late, 11:32. And as you know, I have an official recruiting visit this weekend that I'm going on, leaving tomorrow. So I better go ahead and get myself a good night's sleep so I can be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to hit the road tomorrow for my recruiting visit, which should be amazing. Matthew Goldsmith. Hello? I don't know why that's so funny to me, but for whatever reason it is.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, you may qualify for a free meter from Liberty Medical. If you have type 2 diabetes like I have, you're confronted with choices. You can choose to feel sorry for yourself. I hope you don't. I hope you choose to get involved with a good doctor. Find out some things about diabetes and your own body in the bargain. You'll learn to check your own blood sugar and check it often. That, along with a simple diet and exercise program, can help keep your diabetes under control. If you're on Medicare, call Liberty Medical. We'll help you keep your diabetes under control. First, we'll give you a free meter. No one is more serious than Liberty about helping you keep your diabetes under control. That's why we're a proud sponsor of the American Diabetes Association in their mission to prevent and cure diabetes.
Call for your free meter and ADA offer. Call 1-800-816-8052.
Diabetes.